Greetings. Welcome to episode 32 of The Stagler. We have a very serious episode today. We're talking about many things. First and foremost, perhaps being family. To be more precise, the Fast and Furious franchise is the topic of our spotlight today. I'm your host, Justin.
I'm Nick.
He is my co-host. And we just think family is a very important topic, so we want to just take it with the utmost sincerity that it deserves and that this franchise deserves. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
So we thought, although we're being serious, we thought we'd enrich everybody's lives with content from a fantastic website. Jack really knocked it out of the park with this one, twitter.com. And we just have a tweet here from the International Movie Database.
They said, which animated character would you want to be friends with in real life? We just have some really insightful answers here. We have, right off the bat, Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn. She is a powerful woman.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. I assume that she would be loyal to an extent if you happen to be the person she was loyal to.
Mm.
She is. You can't find more loyalty than that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We have Goku.
Yes, the other gender, Goku and Harley Quinn. Perfectly, just yin and yang, those two. I think, when someone says Goku and someone says Harley Quinn, it's just a salt and pepper situation. They within and without, you might say.
Captain Marvel, female version, not the one who died from cancer.
Okay. Well,
we made about, what, 2 minutes?
We made it about, 2 minutes in, and sorry, guys. We flubbed it, but we can move on with the rest of the show and I can get into our weeks.
Not the one who died from cancer.
The one who died from cancer. That's not very funny. When was the last time cancer was funny? Yes, 20 seconds ago.
For real.
We can get into our week. So what's been happening? You guys know how the show works. We talk about our weeks, then we get into the news, then we do the spotlight, then we do emails and reviews of the week.
You know how it goes.
But weeks first, what's up?
I did a couple things.
Okay.
First thing on the agenda was I watched The Umbrella Academy Season 2.
Right, continuing with that.
I'm officially all the way caught up now. And it was pretty good. Like I said, at the end of the last season, they, time traveled right before the end of the world.
Yes.
And I thought that this season was going to be, kind of the same thing. And it was, but it wasn't. Because they did it in, a different way. So, basically, Five, the dude that does the time travel, messes up the time travel.
Okay.
And they all get dropped in, a different year. But it's all
all separately.
Yeah, but it's all in, the 60s. So, it's, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65.
Okay.
And then they do have to stop the apocalypse, but it's a different kind of apocalypse because, in the timeline they're in, John F. Kennedy doesn't get assassinated, and it starts World War III because they think that because there's a bomb that goes off during the parade, and they think that it's the Russians, and they're like, let's nuke them, and then nuclear warfare and the world ends. So that was pretty interesting, and I don't know, it's just it keeps the same heart as the first season, with all the fun little music cues and just the interesting things they do with the camera and the characters just being all funky and wonky and having fun. Pretty emotional towards the end, pulls on the heartstrings a little bit, and it sets up the third season very well, I think, and I very much enjoyed it. The one thing though was that I don't remember if I said the first time I talked about it, the show, but the title sequence. Did I talk about the title sequence?
I don't remember you talking about that.
Anyway, every time the title comes up, there's always an umbrella somewhere on the camera. It'll go to an random umbrella and it'll be the Umbrella Academy. Mm-hmm. And it was always kind of a cool thing. Kind of like how Mr. Robot just does it wherever. Sure. Or Atlanta. Kind of like that too. This season it does the same thing, but I think they kind of stretch it a little bit not too far, but they don't really use umbrellas anymore. They'll use things that look like umbrellas.
Oh, I don't see the harm
Which
in
was
that.
like it. Some of them were cool, but I was just like, I liked it when it was just an umbrella. Like one time, they literally just like put up a graphic of like an umbrella on the thing, and I was like, oh, I wish there was like an umbrella.
That's kind of weird, yeah.
Yeah, but one that I thought was cool was there was like a dead dude, and he was like bleeding, and it was like zooming in on his dead body, and the blood was like making an umbrella, and then it was like the Umbrella Academy. And I was like,
okay,
oh, that's
sure.
pretty cool. So yeah, some of those were cool, some of those were kind of, but overall, I thought it was pretty dang cool, and I'm ready for season 3 whenever. I don't know when that's supposed to come out, but
Whenever
I'll
it
be
comes
there.
out, you'll be there.
And then one other thing was Tyler, the Creator, musical artist, released a new album just yesterday, and it's pretty fire.
Good.
I didn't even know that he was dropping an album, but I just saw on Twitter trending yesterday. It was like album of the year contender, and I was like, what? And I clicked, and everyone was like, Tyler's new album of the year. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I really enjoyed his latest project, Igor. And this was it was very great. It's really long. Well, it's not really long, but it's longer than Igor. It was like 16 tracks or something like that, and they're all pretty dang good. And I've listened to it a few times through now, but I'm going to keep on listening to it because it's good.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I've listened to too much of his music, but from what I've heard, yeah, it works. I'm super weird when it comes to music. Some of the music I listen to is just like a bunch of sounds put together.
Yeah. Isn't that what all music is?
Yeah, but mine's more like it's a man banging on a garbage can and then a woman screaming. Like it's the kind of music that I like.
Right.
But his stuff, I can see why people like that too. I guess. I don't know, but that's it. Just those two little things.
That was it.
I mean, obviously, guys, we had to watch.
Yeah, we watched a lot of
10 movies,
Fast and Furious movies.
the whole franchise. So that did dig into our things, and I had something else that really dug into my schedule as well. Throwing it over to me, a little baton pass. I played a video game. I talked about it last week. That I just started it, but now I've all but platinumed it because I'm literally saving the one last thing I need to do, just so when I'm done with the game, I can platinum it right at the end, and then shut it down and be like, I'm done, and I put it to rest. But I put a lot of time into it. Well, not a lot, but I put enough time into it right now. Of course, that is Ratchet Clank Rift Apart for the PS5 and only for the PS5. It's built from the ground up for the PS5 experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't have a PS5, fuck you.
Yeah.
Says Sony.
Go get one.
For all the people who do not have one still, and they're still impossible to find. I was listening back to an episode, and we were like, oh, when are they going to be available, like, and it'll be, like, normal? We're like, oh, by summer, for sure. It'll be, like, you can just go out to the store.
In our defense, we still have a few months of summer.
Yes.
Summer just started.
Summer just started, but I'm just saying that it does not bode well
It's
so
not
far.
looking good, I will say.
But, yeah, that's a bit silly. But we got one, so who cares about everybody else?
Exactly.
Anyway, I've been playing it. It is the 30th entry in the franchise, and by 30th, I mean, like, maybe 12th or something. There's a lot of them. Most of them are spin-offs, though. I'd say there's like 6 main ones, so this would be like the 7th.
Okay.
Or 8th, I guess. And it's really good. Just to get that right out there, it's really awesome. The thing that it tries its best to balance new fans and old fans from like way back in the day, like me, who've been playing it since the very beginning.
Yeah.
I've been playing it since I was like 5 or something, so
That's a long
been
time.
with me. Of course there is a little bit where I was like, man, I wish they would dig a little bit deeper, but it's not aggressive enough that anybody who's new to the series really can just jump in and be like, okay, I get the gist. You know, there's a few characters where like, okay, I don't know who this person is, but it doesn't really matter. Because this whole game's about separate dimensions and parallel, universes and stuff like that.
Right.
So you have characters that are introduced who is like, oh, this is this dimension's version of the character that you know. So if you don't know the character, that's all you're missing is you just don't know what his counterpart is like. Well, maybe I shouldn't say everybody, just in case somebody wants to play it and doesn't want to get spoiled. But there's good ones in there. And of course you have Rivet, who is the girl Ratchet. And she's very cute. And there was a lot of art made of her very quickly after she was announced. Like, it was Wow.
Well, let me tell you, there's the Rule 34 artists community.
Yeah. The family.
The family, the Rule 34 artist family. They are really something crazy.
Yeah.
Because they hop on it and they hop on it quick.
How can you, if you could weaponize the Rule 34 artist,
Okay.
you would be the most powerful army in the world.
They react fast.
Yeah, it's the reaction speed, and I mean it's skill too. It's talent. It's not like it's shitty art. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, do you work for Pixar? They're
Literally.
like, yes, actually.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, visually, just saying that, I mean, it is like watching a Pixar movie. It's awesome.
Mhm.
They have 3 performance modes. You can have the 4K, most effects, most enemies, most like creatures on screen at a time, but it's 30 FPS. Or you can do 60 FPS with ray tracing, but it lowers the resolution a little bit. Or you can do 60 FPS ray tracing, or no, 60 FPS, no ray tracing, but all the effects are back. So really the one you want to do is 60 FPS with ray tracing.
Yeah,
That's the best looking one.
Mhm.
It was the same with Miles Morales, because of course it's the same developer, Insomniac Games. They know what they're doing.
They do.
And the point I wanted
They
to
do
make, bringing that up, is that they have Spider-Man 2 coming eventually.
Sometime.
And we have Peter Parker and Miles Morales in that game, which is another kind of dual protagonist story. So this feels like a really good run course for a dual protagonist kind of thing.
yeah.
Like I can see already that they'll be able to pull it off because they do it in this game with Ratchet and Rivet. So I think it's very cool that it seems like they're kind of learning from each other, because Ratchet and Clank in this game has a lot bigger set pieces that haven't been seen in the franchise,
Right.
which seems like it's building off of what they learned in Spider-Man. So it's a real give and take with their development, and I think, as far as I know, as a team of developers, they are very nice to their employees. You know, they don't crunch, they don't, treat them poorly. There's no harassment. Like apparently, it's a great place to work, which
Good.
is very good to hear, especially when you hear about places like
CD Projekt Red.
City Project Red, even stuff like Naughty Dog and Rockstar. Just really not treating their employees as well as they could.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just hope it's a lesson to people. It's like, hey, you don't have to crunch your employees and make them work 14 hours a day or more
What?
to have a good product at the end of the day, because this game's amazing.
But how am I gonna release Cyberpunk on time?
Didn't they just release it on PS4 again, and it's still kind of fucked up because it got delisted because
I don't-
Sony
I
was
don't
like,
know.
this is unplayable.
I don't know.
Anyway, let's talk about the positive things, not that. I mean, really, the first level in this game is like a Night City-esque kind of level, so it is
Okay.
kind of fun to just like look around and see what's going on. Of course, it's not an open world game; it's
Yeah.
level based, so it's not completely linear, but there's just little side paths that you can go off and just kind of look for treasure or whatever. There's like 20 guns approximately, probably like 17-ish, which is great. Like 90% of them are brand new, so that's a lot of fun.
Nice.
The ricochet gun is really fun. Not gonna explain what all of them do.
It ricochets.
It ricochets, so you hit them, and then the ball just flies into the air, and if you press R2 with the right timing, it'll come back down and just keep assaulting them. And it's really
Nice.
good because then you don't have to face the enemies while you're attacking them, so you can shoot it out and run away, but you'll feel it in the controller too, and you'll hear
The
a
haptic
tone,
feedback.
haptic feedback, and so you can be running around for cover and be completely behind cover, but still attacking the enemies like that.
Mhm.
Very, very fun. You've got the Cold Front, which just freezes them all. You've got the Topiary Springer, which turns them into shrubbery, stuff like
Nice.
that. You have Mr. Fungi, who's a little like mushroom man who shoots guns at him.
Okay.
He's cool. He's like a little turret buddy.
The
you know?
gun.
Mm-hmm. You got like 4 shotguns in this game. One of them's called the Pixelizer, which is a old one, but it turns them into pixels.
I never would have thought.
It's a very fun look to it, especially on the bosses. You have these huge, gigantic bosses, and then they go 2D
Oh,
and
yeah.
pixel look. It looks great.
That's cool.
And then when you kill them, the blocks all go flying out like in
Mm.
3D space. So yeah, just effects wise, it's great. It's fantastic just to look at, and it feels good. The mobility options are crazy because you get hover boots. You can go super fast and traverse levels like you really couldn't before. And you can really like sequence break with that game with those boots. Like that did not seem like it was thought through enough, because like I broke a level just because I was like, what if I just jump over there? And it was hard, but I did it, and it just like skipped a portion of the level. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, this is canon.
Nice.
The villain is great. It's nefarious again, but then with a twist, and it's awesome. I can honestly recommend this game to like anybody ever. It's I mean, right now it's the best game on the PS5, and I don't think it's even like a competition. And I'm even saying that trying to disregard my bias, you know? It's just the way it incorporates all the features of the PS5. As far as I know, like a game really hasn't done it yet. It's like the first one to really put it all. And Ratchet Clank has always kind of been a showpiece almost for the new consoles. I think Returnal did similar things as well. Returnal came out. But just speaking of that, the haptic thing, one of the good uses of it is that all the guns basically have 2 fire modes now, or at least have 2 different things. If you pull the trigger halfway, let's say on the shotgun, it'll shoot 1 shell. If you pull it all the way, it'll shoot both of them at the same time. So you can go bam, bam, or you can go bam, both shoots. And it takes a little bit longer to reload, but it's the extra power. It's great. And all the guns basically have a second function like that, or a aim before you throw kind of thing. But it's there for all of it. And
Nice.
so that's fantastic as well. Story-wise, all I can say is that I hope this is the first in a trilogy, because the PS4 only got 1 game and it was a reboot. So I hope this is a new PS5 trilogy to revitalize the series. And I mean, with the reviews it's gotten, everyone loves it.
Yeah.
So I would love to see this continue the franchise, because it's, when you think of like PlayStation 2 franchises, it's maybe one of the strongest that's like still going.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really had a great staying power, especially compared to its contemporaries like Jak and Daxter and Sly Cooper, who are kind of dead. Jak especially, rip.
Rest in peace, man.
But that leads me to the final thing I want to talk about, which is I'm wearing a Q-Force shirt, which is a Ratchet and Clank thing.
Nice.
Not a weird gay Netflix TV series. I don't know if you saw that, but it was called the Q-Force.
Oh, yes.
No relation. No relation. Let's maybe talk about that later
rough.
if we want. But this is the Quark. This is Captain Copernicus Leslie Quark. All right?
Nice.
He's the man. Captain Quantum, But anyway.
Okay.
The Rhino is a weapon that appears in every single one of these games. Or every single one of the mainline ones, I guess I should say.
Okay.
And I think this is like the Rhino 8 now. And so it's always just the most overpowered. It stands for Rip You a New One. So it's Rhino. And RYNO,
Okay.
Rip You New One.
Yep. I got it.
And this one is one of my favorites, honestly. Sometimes it's just like basically shoots a bunch of rockets, Sometimes it's like a huge laser that just does a screen clear. In this one, it opens a bunch of portals and it sends stuff down and just flattens all the enemies on the field, And this one has some extra Easter eggs built into it, because one of the things you can summon to like from a dimension to kill all the enemies is Sly Cooper.
Oh,
or
nice.
is Jak and Daxter, or is an Uncharted Jeep, or is a Thunderjaw from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it's just really cool thing that they were able to put into the game. I think a lot of people appreciate that. And it's super cool to see these properties in any sort of capacity.
Yeah.
I mean, the Thunderjaw looks so good, by
Yeah.
the way. It looks so good. But yeah, I'm just really happy with the game. Basically platinumed it, just haven't done it yet. And it was fantastic. I've also been going through it in photo mode, which is why I've been spending so much time. It's because the photo mode is just so much fun to just mess around with, because all the effects and ray tracing, it's blech. And just because I know people like to know this, I want to say my first go around with the game where I wasn't using photo mode too much because I wanted to stay in the game. I think I was at about 14 hours to beat it. So that's kind of about the length you should be expecting. But also the game is built for at least one replay on challenge mode. It's kind of built around that because the guns only level up half their capacity. And once you do a new game, it's like, oh, now they go to level 10 instead of level 5. And they basically become different guns because they unlock new abilities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's a very cool game, and I recommend it to everybody. It's awesome. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Rock on.
Mm-hmm. I watched one movie, though. I did find the time.
Wow.
Amongst all the other things. I watched Luca.
Yeah.
That's a Pixar movie.
The new Pixar.
The new one. It came out on like the 7th, I want to say. Straight to Disney Plus without any premiere access. It was just dropped.
Yeah.
Which is great, I guess. That makes me think, because it is true that they, saw it as a lesser film or whatever. And I don't know if people are going into this film thinking that or not, because this film seems like people love it or hate it, honestly. I'll get it out of the way. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's the closest Pixar's ever gotten to like Studio Ghibli, and just feel and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
It was very reminiscent to me of like Kiki's Delivery Service, which is still my favorite animated movie of all time, as I talked about on our episode where we focused on that. It's about Luca Paguro or something like that. They're all like Italian, but not really. I'll get into that. He's a little sea monster, and he wants to go see like what's the land about, what's going on up there. And this weirdo kid is like, oh hey, I know what's on the land, let's go. And they go on the land. They want a Vespa, which is like a little scooter, and they're like, we can go anywhere and search the world. But his family's like, you'll get murdered because all the humans hate sea monsters. And it's I guess you could say it is kind of a plotting development. It's not like, oh, bam, 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 bam. This is interesting. I'm totally invested. But it's just kind of like scenes that are happening. You're just watching the characters interact. So I see people's, confusion on like, oh, this is like poorly paced or whatever. But I just don't necessarily agree with that. With maybe the exception of the ending, it could have been handled a little bit better. But mostly you're looking at just the relationships between people. That's the kind of film that it is. That's what they're going for. And, when people are putting it up against, like, The Incredibles and Soul and whatever, it's like, yeah, this is the kid's, like, 13, and he has 13-year-old thoughts, and he's not, like, when I die and I turn into a ghost and I need a spark, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's very surface-level kind of stuff when you compare it to Soul, which was very deep. And I didn't like Soul.
Which is crazy.
But, I mean, if you need a Pixar movie that's, the title is 4 letters long, and 2 of the letters are L and U, I prefer Luca to Soul. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so they need to like win a race to get the money to win the scooter. Okay. And and it's the kind of the sea monsters where if they get wet, it reveals their sea monsterness.
Right. Yes.
But if they're dry, they stay human. So they try to win the race, but oh my gosh, it rains, which is like the most.
That's the worst thing that could happen.
It's just so interesting because it's such a banal thing, but it's like this is actually the worst thing that could ever happen. It rains, like they hadn't thought about it once.
Man, and it doesn't rain in what's the Zack Snyder movie?
Oh, Army of the Dead.
Zombies?
Army of the Dead, exactly. But yeah, so it rains and like that's like the huge deal. It's like the super normal thing. So they get revealed and then.
Wait, is it like reveal their whole thing, or like each drop of rain like reveals like a little bit? Like rain hits their arm and it's like scales.
Yeah, exactly. Rain hits their arm, it's like scales, and then scales until they're drenched.
Very cool.
I always think it's really cool. I've been reading reviews for like the reviews in the week and stuff. People are like, "Oh, this movie looks so shitty," and it makes me feel like Pixar is ruining animation.
Oh no!
Because this movie looks great, it just doesn't look Soul great. Because Soul, I mean, it's like impeccable, top of the line, whatever. So now it's like people are expecting, maybe because it is Pixar, but they're expecting these top of the line, ultra real, all the time, graphics, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's not that, and people were just whining, and that just always felt a little weird to me because it looks good. It looks
always do that.
a lot more cartoony, than the normal stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's like stylized. A lot of people think it looks ugly, but it almost seems akin to like claymation almost to me.
Oh, okay.
Just in the character designs and stuff.
Interesting.
I think it's cool. Anyway, the music is another thing that I really enjoyed. There was a lot of like staccato, like violin kind of stuff, Italian sounding things. Yeah. When it comes to the Italian
gabagoo
edge, exactly, edge to the movie, it's in like a fake Italian town. It's not real. It seems very surface level Italian to me. It's like pasta.
Not like The Sopranos.
Music. Not like The Sopranos. It's actually exactly like The Sopranos. Funny that you say that. Because it is like kind of. It feels like American Italian instead of Italian to me. But I'm not Italian, so what do I know?
Exactly.
I have an Italian friend. I'll ask him to watch it and see what he thinks. An American Italian friend, so yeah, grain of salt.
Yeah. You need to get Furio on that one.
I need to get Furio on that. I miss him so much.
For real.
Anyway, that's next episode. Come on now.
Sorry.
I thought it was great. It has an ending that isn't okay. I guess I need to bring this up. A thing that you might have heard about the movie is that it's a gay movie. Have you heard that? That's like the hubbub, right?
Okay.
It's like, oh, it's Call Me by Your Name. It's Calamari by Your Name, you know? And that's what people say. Have you not
Okay.
heard that?
No.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. I haven't been keeping up on the Luca discourse.
Sure, yeah. But people have said like, oh, that it's like an allegory. And the director came out and be like, no, but he probably has to. But still, I believe him. It doesn't feel like a gay movie to me, but there is a very clear queer reading of this movie that you can have.
Mm-hmm.
But it could also apply to something like, because obviously it's like, oh, they're sea monsters. Don't let them find out your secret. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's really easy. And it's about these two boys sharing this secret, you know? So it makes sense to view it that way.
Yeah.
But it could also be like almost like an immigrant story or something like that, you know?
Mm.
Or any kind of like underdog story, really.
Right.
The way I ended up reading it just subconsciously when I was done, I didn't read the two characters as gay, but I read that the friend Alberto, like, could have been, obviously they're very young. They're like 13 and 14 or 15, like that age range. So I kind of read it as he might have been, you know, because he shows a lot of jealousy, but that makes sense because he never really had people in his life. He was kind of like an orphan, you know. But I found it kind of rewarding to view him as that way. I just like that reading of it. Another thing that I think is great about this movie is I really feel that it works if any of the three main kids, they have a friend that they meet who's human named Julia. Any of the three main kids feel like they could have been the main character, you know?
Yeah.
And like just view it, and it just happens to be Luca who we see the world through. His whole thing is that he wants to go to school by the end. What a nerd.
What a loser.
What a
Wants
loser.
to go to
this
school?
Luca. But it's that kind of stuff where it's maybe you're seeing why I compare it to Ghibli, because it's kind of just like a slice of life almost type of film, which is just feels refreshing that it's not life or death. Well, actually, it is kind of life or death if they find out they get murdered.
Right.
But
sea monster.
most of the movie, until the last 10 minutes, you know, it's a lot more slice of life stuff. And it's like, oh, I dropped a glass of water on myself. But then it goes away. You know, it's not a big deal.
Right.
I thought it was great. I would love to hear people's thoughts on it. I'll
have to watch it.
would honestly pick this one up physically if it came out
Oh.
on Blu-ray. That's how much I liked it.
Wow.
Which makes me,
You must be a loser.
I guess, it's just funny when you like a movie so much and then you read all the horrible, horrible reviews that are like, this movie sucks.
Yep. We have a whole episode about that.
And you second guess yourself. And I was like, does the movie suck?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know.
I know what you mean.
I liked it. And the critics that I follow, that I know I can trust, also liked it. So I'm feeling pretty secure.
Yeah, buddy.
That's all I'm talking about. But yeah, that's it.
Sweet.
That's all I got. Luca.
You know what that means. It's time for the box office.
Box office.
Yeah, buddy. We brought it back last episode.
We did, and it's still
and
going.
we're rolling with it. We have some, I think, interesting things going on here.
Interesting news.
So, these past 2 weekends,
Okay.
I found this interesting. The past 2 weekends, I guess, were officially the last 2 weekends of what Box Office Mojo has titled, like, the COVID-19 pandemic weeks.
Okay, sure.
Or whatever. Because this latest weekend, I noticed, did not have that
Like asterisk or...
thing under it. And I
Okay.
was like, okay. So
not
what
sure
I'm
what the
saying
metric is,
is Fast and Furious ended COVID.
That's true. Fast 9 did end COVID.
So just another incredible thing
Wow.
to cross off the list for Fast and Furious. What haven't they done?
That's incredible. It must have been... I don't know.
I just thought that was interesting.
It is funny.
But on the June 11th to the 13th weekend, A Quiet Place Part 2 still at the top. They finally passed $100 million.
Good for them.
Good for them. And then everything else is just like non-existent. In the Heights was second.
Oh, that was the other one I was meaning to watch. Didn't get around to it.
But the thing is, it only made 11 million. 11 and
But
a
it's
half.
also a dual release with HBO Max.
I know, which is interesting because I wish we could see how many people have watched it on HBO Max because I
know.
want to know if they really like, if they could have made like a lot of money with that. I don't know. And then this past weekend, we had The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard come out on top with a solid 11 million? Are you gonna see The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard?
I heard it was better than the first one.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay, because I didn't like The Hitman's Bodyguard. I thought it was stupid.
I mean, it's probably still stupid. It's just it's a little bit better.
And Peter Rabbit 2. Did you see Peter Rabbit?
I saw a Peter Rabbi. I didn't see Peter Rabbit
Nice.
too.
I remember when the first Peter Rabbit came out on disc. It was when I worked at Family Video.
Okay.
And I remember we only had like 12 copies of it. And they were always sold out. I don't know what it was, but people would come in and they would be like, "Is Peter Rabbit back yet?" And I would be like, "No, it's not back until like tomorrow or like 2 days."
Right.
And they're like, "Oh my gosh, okay, I need to come back then." And like,
There's no holds at Family Video. You can be like, "I call next on Peter Rabbi."
I can't do that.
Damn it.
At least I don't think you could. I don't really remember.
Well,
But it
well,
was like
you can't-
all the time.
Definitely can't now.
Like people would come in and they'd be like walking around like looking, and they'd get to like, I would like watch. I'd be sitting there and like looking, like, oh man, they're getting close to Peter Rabbit, because I see that they have like kids or something.
Yeah.
And they'll like get to the Peter Rabbit section, and then they're looking and they're like, "Is there any Peter Rabbits?" And I'm like, "No, they're all sold out." So something about Peter Rabbit is really getting to the kids.
I mean, it's a cute rabbit. It's got the actor whose name I always forget, but I really enjoy. I'm the Spy.
Right.
Yeah. Him. About Time, man. He's good.
Yeah.
Ex Machina as well.
So yeah, and then Fast 9. Just yesterday, opening day, Fast 9 dropped $36 million domestic,
Wow.
which was pretty cool. And then worldwide already, I don't know how long it's been released worldwide, but it's already at $330 million.
Which is
worldwide.
interesting because I imagine that their China market would have taken a hit with this movie because of the John Cena controversy.
Right.
Luckily, he apologized, and so did we. So
Yep.
we did that, which is great. But yeah,
I don't know, but yeah, Fast 9 is on track.
we will get. I was gonna say something about Fast 9, but hey, we're gonna get
We're
there.
gonna talk about it.
We're gonna
later.
get there.
But yeah, Fast 9 ended COVID, and made a lot of money. Very cool.
That's true.
So, COVID's done now, guys. So,
Nice.
really
Vin
sweet.
Diesel, Vin Sorrento killed COVID.
He killed COVID with family.
Yes. So we can get on to a regular news. We have a couple of stories, maybe blast through a few real quick. Final Fantasy IX is being adapted into a kids animated series. It'll be
Okay.
like an adventure series. I know you never played Final Fantasy IX, but it looks like
played
this.
any of them. That's what the game looks like?
Yes, it's an old game.
Okay.
Which is weird because while Final Fantasy IX probably looks the most kiddie to, just graphics wise and stuff, like, oh, it looks like fun, cartoony. It deals with like mass genocide.
Very nice.
That's like the plot.
That's
it's
what
like
we like.
a mass genocide of a very specific race who's also enslaved.
Cool. Very nice.
So that sounds like a fun kids.
Great thing to turn into a kids
like,
show.
It's like a fun kids show aimed at 8 to 13-year-old kids.
Wow. Very nice.
But yeah, the game's great. It's probably on my favorite half of Final Fantasies. I played every single one except for the MMOs.
I've played 0 of them.
They're great. I love them.
They're great.
They're great. As a Ronso might say.
Oh, okay.
It's a cat person in Final Fantasy X.
Very nice.
But yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting that that's what's going on with that. Thank you, Polygon. Speaking of things being announced, Transformers 7 title revealed for new film starring Anthony Ramos and Dominique Fishback.
So wait, what's the title? Just Transformers 7?
Transformers 7 Rise of the Beasts is the title. Slated for
Transformers
June
Rise of the
24th,
Beasts.
2022.
Basically
Beast
1 year
Wars.
from right now.
Basically 1 year from right now.
Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah, I don't know. The last 4 Transformer movies were bad.
The last 4?
5, you're right.
Wait, which one do you think is good? Because this is, I guess, the 7th one, because Bumblebee's a thing.
Right, exactly. I don't know. They're mostly not good, so
The first 3
are
are
fine.
fine.
Yeah. With the second one being the the
The worst of the
valley.
three.
But we had an episode about this, so we don't need
We
to
have a
talk
whole
about
episode where we get to just really
it.
talk about it.
Eventually, this show, on episode 249, every topic that ever comes up, we're just going to be like, but we had an episode on this, so just go listen to that for our thoughts. Eventually, that's what the show's going to devolve into, is just us quoting previous episodes for 2 hours. And that'll be
That'll be
episode
fun.
249. Would it be fun? But yeah, just that was announced. That's the guy from In the Heights, I think.
Interesting. Wait, so is it like no one? He's like the new main character. There's no Mark Wahlberg. There's no Shia LaBeouf.
I gotta assume.
Okay.
It works for me.
Sure.
This came completely out of nowhere. Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog team up in new film straight out of nowhere.
Interesting.
It's just a straight to video, kind of trashy Scooby-Doo movie, but like Courage ended in 2002.
Yeah, what the freak?
And apparently there was a short in 2014 that I don't think I knew about, unless it was that 3D one. And then they're just coming back, and Courage is gonna make Scooby-Doo his bitch.
Wow.
I
When does this
guess.
come out?
That's a great question. I have no idea. Soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll watch that.
Yeah, I'll try to watch it too. It doesn't. Oh, and Matthew Lillard, the live action Shaggy, is the voice Shaggy too.
Oh yeah.
It's very, very cool. I mean, he does a fantastic job. I don't see why I wouldn't.
Love the live action Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah. And speaking of dogs, I guess,
Dogs.
and specifically dog penises,
What?
Red Rocket, first look. Sean Baker returns. Sorry, do you not like that segue?
No.
Okay. First look at Red Rocket. Sean Baker returns after the Florida Project with first Cannes contender.
Nice.
It's going to be starring Simon Rex, who you might know from the Scary movies.
Sure.
Maybe. That's what I know him from. And it's Sean Baker. I mean, we've been keeping an eye out on him. I'm very excited for this.
Yeah.
I like keeping up with this dude. Apparently, there's no official synopsis yet. It's A24's thing. But it's supposed to be like a dark comedy who lives off of women in the adult film industry, who moves out of Los Angeles back home to Texas and kind of just falls in his old routine. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on there. Simon Rex, I know, is mostly what he's done is comedy, so this seeming like has a dramatic edge to it. Be interesting to see what he can pull off, because we know that Sean Baker likes to work with these non-professional actors a lot. But this guy, he had his history in acting, so it's interesting to see what they'll be able to accomplish, I think. I'm very excited for his work.
Yes, that'll be interesting.
Disney Plus has no current plans to release its Marvel shows on physical media. What do you think of this?
It's interesting.
It seems weird because there's so many people who collect these things.
More money.
It just seems
Don't they
like,
want money?
well, that for one, and two, it's just like these people's collections are just going to have a gigantic hole. I mean, again,
care about
as
that.
far as I know, they're planning the movies to be, the TV shows to be skippable as far as movies go. That's kind of was their idea. So I guess I get it, but like, it just seems like a shame.
Yeah,
I guess.
it kind of sucks.
It's weird as we move forward that to be a digital world that we seem to just be going towards, because obviously movies, I mean, it's at the end of the day it's waste, but there's already so much waste, just you know what I mean? Like, yes, they're useless, but everything's useless.
If it's all digital, the world might end up like Blade Runner 2049.
That's what I'm saying.
They had the blackout and they lost it all.
Right.
Because it was all digital.
Do we want
I'm just
that?
saying.
Do
They
we-
had no paper records anymore. There's a whole anime about it.
I'm just saying. It just seems weird that it's nothing. Like, I just think it's very strange.
Yeah, because when the blackout happens, we know that the most important thing is going to be, well, where's the copies of Loki? And they're going to be like, they got deleted.
Yeah,
They're
where's
gone.
WandaVision?
And people are going to be like, well, you should have printed physical copies, and now we could have had it, but now it's just gone forever. So thanks a lot, Disney.
And Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like, what? All those important. Remember all those memorable moments from Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yeah, I definitely watched that.
Yes, I
Definitely.
love the part where Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh, dude, yeah,
Was
that was
my-
a good part.
that was the good part.
That was a good part, though.
Anyway, that's a shame for collectors, I guess. After 28 quirky years,
Quirky.
Conan O'Brien is leaving late night.
Dang.
Finally.
Is he going to early morning now?
No, I think he's just going to be... He has like a podcast. I'm probably going to be doing that. He's still going to be doing stuff.
The Conan cast?
I'm pretty sure he has a podcast. Is it? I
The
always see it.
Concast?
Um,
The Coney cast?
I don't know, but all those titles are awful.
Pod
and you
Conan?
should feel bad about them. He, I mean, he really has been obviously doing this work. I know you don't care, and this is just like a joke to you, but this is kind of pretty big. This guy has paved the way for a lot of comedy and stand-up comedy, and even podcasts. To be fair, even maybe he got there a little bit late in the game. But he's a really funny guy. He seems like a really earnest guy. He treats his whole show that runs the Conan show very, very well. I believe they were paid like throughout the pandemic and stuff like that.
Very nice.
He just seems like he's one of the good ones, I guess you could say. Shame he's not funny, but it's something we have in common. No, I think Conan's funny. He's got good
I've
stuff.
seen some of his clips.
Have you
on
seen the
YouTube.
clips? The only clips that I don't like because they're directly mocking me is like whenever he would like play a video game or like watch someone play a video game, and his comments would just be so inane and like misinformed that it was funny, but also like in a cringy way, I guess.
Yeah.
But it worked for what it was. But this guy, I mean, 28 years doing anything, you're gonna kind of leave a mark. So
Yeah, for sure.
I hope he continues to do what he does and is happy about it.
Goodbye, Conan.
Goodbye, Conan, forever. I'll always remember your hair.
Yes.
Okay, so Dune is a movie that we've been talking about since our first episode. And
Have we really?
I'm pretty sure.
What
At
a
least
monumental
our
occasion
second
it'll be when it
episode,
comes up.
because our second episode, Dune, was in the title.
Right.
But we're probably going to be talking about it for all of our episodes, even after the movie comes out, I imagine.
Yes.
However, it has been delayed again.
But this is a good delay.
It has a late October release, 2024. No, 2021. Is this a good delay?
Yes, because it creates a great weekend at the movies.
But what if... Well, what is that great weekend?
So on the same weekend, we have Dune, The Last Night in Soho from Edgar Wright, and The French Dispatch from Wes Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
and Jackass 4.
And Jackass 4, which is a huge one. Why is that good, then, that all those are... Just because the
movies will be bustling.
You're really not afraid that everyone's going to go see Jackass and nobody's going to have money left over for Dune?
I mean, that would suck.
Here's the thing. The Jackass audience, I'm not sure the Dune and the Jackass audience are the same audience. So
Probably not.
I'm not worried about that. But The French Dispatch and Last Night in Soho, I would probably say Last Night in Soho more specifically, maybe,
Right.
depending on how well people know the directors, I suppose,
Mhm.
would be the greatest, competition with each other. I want all of 4 of those movies, as far as I care, to be very successful, unless they're bad.
Here's the thing, though.
Okay.
Dune, these other movies, they don't really have to... I mean, they have to be successful, but they don't have to be super successful. You know what I mean? Dune has to make a lot of money, or they won't let him make the second one.
Yeah, the second half.
So Dune has to hit hard.
Right.
If it flops like Blade Runner, there's just going to be no Dune 2. And if it's like absolutely incredible and there's just going to be no second part to the story, that would just be really sad.
Well, that's specifically
The
my
other ones
worry
don't
with
really feel like
this delay, because now it has competition that, at the end of the day, no matter what,
Right.
at least one ticket is going to go to Last Night in Soho that doesn't go to Dune,
Why will personally...
Buy 2
Right
tickets.
now, for every 1 ticket sold for Last Night in Soho, I will purchase 2 tickets
Wow.
to Dune. There, I've said it.
It'd be like $22 million
There.
or so.
That's what I will do if that's what it takes.
Okay, sure. I mean, I can't stop you.
If that's what it takes, I'll do it.
So that's a little bit of worry of mine, but still, for us personally, yeah, it's gonna be a really killer weekend.
Great time to go to the movies.
Quadruple feature at the theater.
Quadruple feature. Well, a little fun fact about me: I've never seen any of the Jackass movies.
Yeah, we went over that. I think
That's not a fun fact.
I've
Never
only
mind.
seen one of them, I think, and it was whichever one. I don't know. It's on. I have it on DVD. I think still. So it wasn't mine. It was a friend's. I think he left it at my house, and I just kept it.
Anyway, Dune. I get excited when I see pictures of Dune. Makes me hype.
I don't know. Maybe I'll do a triple feature.
Dune a triple.
Yeah.
Dune a triple.
Dune, Soho,
Beach.
and Jackass.
No Dispatch.
Well, I can't do a double Chalamet. You know, I
Why
can't.
not? Double down on the Shally.
I don't know. It's too. I might overdose. I might not double down, but somebody might go down on Catwoman, but it won't be Batman, because
What
DC
is
told Harley Quinn creators to remove Batman Catwoman oral sex scene because heroes don't do that. So it's illegal for Batman to eat pussy, and that's like a double entendre because it's Catwoman.
So, was this in one of the cartoons?
The Harley Quinn animated show with Poison Ivy, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's that one. They wanted to have a scene where Batman was just going at it, chowing.
That would have been interesting.
They're like, "Oh, Batman doesn't give head. That's not what he do."
Batman doesn't give head.
But Bruce Wayne does, I bet.
Bruce Wayne.
Batman,
definitely
but really,
does.
Batman must, because otherwise, why would his cowl have that part open? that feels like a very intentional design to me.
Right.
So
That's true.
I don't know if these DC people really whatever. But basically, it said so. The creator said, "Oh, are you saying heroes are just selfish lovers?" And they were like, "No, it's that we sell consumer toys for hero. It's hard to sell a toy if Batman is also going down on someone." What?
Come on.
A Catwoman squirt gun, you know, and then just have Batman just do his thing. It seems weird they're really, the point that this is at is that they still have toys on the brain when it's an adult animated show.
Yeah.
Like, people get their brains blown out on it, and they're still like, but the toys though. That's so
Yeah.
bizarre to me that this is really how it's ingrained in the
That is
industry, I guess, you know. It's very, very, very strange.
Huh.
But
Interesting. That's some interesting news right there.
you know who else didn't give head?
I don't know.
Uncle June. But he didn't want anybody to know about it. From The Sopranos, he was like, "Oh, I don't do that."
That's true. That's true.
And we have a weird little Sopranos story that I just wanted to throw in. Chris Rock turned down a couple offers to join The Sopranos over fear he'd ruin it. What do you think of Chris Rock?
What would Chris Rock do in The Sopranos?
I'm not sure if this actually says it, but I would probably make him a cop. You know, I'd make him one of the FBI guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make him one of the criminals, one of the mob people. He'd be a cop. He'd be FBI. Maybe
Very interesting.
go in and say that. What do you think? Would you want Chris Rock in Sopranos?
I can't imagine it.
I would probably cast him either as an FBI guy or as AJ Soprano. Just let him go with that.
Yeah, that would
Be like, "Dad, I am not going to military school." Like that, you know?
Yeah. No, that would work really good.
But he did the Fargo show, they're saying here, which is he plays a crime lord in that apparently, and it seems like it's a close parallel to the Sopranos character like Tony.
Interesting.
But I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to throw that in. Indiana Jones fedora
Nice.
and Harry Potter wand among iconic movie props being auctioned next week, but this was published 6 days ago, so it's actually this week.
Whoa.
It just seems like a lot of Hollywood memorabilia is coming up to the auction block. You know,
How much? What are the figures? What are you thinking?
it's the tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars. I would be shocked if there's anything less than $10,000 by the end of the auction. I'm sure they start at like 100, but I couldn't imagine people, because it's auction. It's made for raising money, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe if you've got some spare cash,
I'm gonna buy the hat.
the fedora.
Yeah.
Why?
Imagine being like, this is Indiana Jones's actual fedora that he wears in the movie.
Okay. Well, you can have the fedora. I'm gonna save my money for the Toyota Supra from Fast and Furious, the one that Paul Walker drove.
Okay.
But sadly, it already sold for $550,000.
See, so you can't buy it. So now you saved your money for nothing. You'll
But
have to buy the wand.
I can just go to the guy who bought it and say, I'll give you $550,000 and a penny.
I don't think.
And he'll be like, oh, of course, that is more money, so it is worth more to me.
I don't think he would do. I don't think he would be like, yeah. Okay.
Or she. We don't know. And, yeah, so this is the candy orange one, you know, that was super fast.
Yep. Super fast.
Super fast. It's very cool. It was also in Too Fast, Too Furious.
Too fast for y'all.
And it's the most expensive Toyota Supra ever sold.
I would hope so. if another one sold for more than $550,000,
$550,000. That's how you do it.
That's cool though. I bet you that person is feeling cool when they're driving it around.
I hope they live near the Cedar Lee, and when we go see F10, it'll be right there in the parking lot.
That would be sick.
That would be sick. But that does it for news. So I think we got through that pretty fast.
Frick yeah.
So we can move on to our
Speaking
spotlight.
of fast,
Speaking of fast. That's how we do it.
it's time to talk about the family.
Family.
We're going to talk about all 10 Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
Well, 9 Fast and Furious movies and
And
one
a
Fast
spin-off
and Furious
presents.
spin-off presents. And we're just going to go in order.
Yeah, Nick's going to take the reins on this because he is the oracle. He is the
oracle.
master. You know, he knows everything about these movies.
I'm a super fan, you could say. Me and Shea Serrano, if you know who that is. Shea Serrano, if you're watching, I love you, man. Your books are great. Your podcasts are great. You're a good guy. Family. Absolutely.
Your family,
Um,
Gay Serrano.
Okay.
What?
In 2001, it all starts off.
Ah.
The Fast and the Furious. I was but a babe
Hmm.
when this movie came out. Directed by Rob Cohen. And The Fast and the Furious. It is the beginning of... No one could have imagined what this movie would have eventually turned into. It's just a movie about street racing and cops and stealing DVDs.
Right. So this movie, when it came out, wasn't. They weren't expecting a franchise.
No.
This was just the movie. It is what it is. Enjoy
Yeah.
it. You know. And I also guess I want to preface this with saying, Nick has seen all these movies. You know, like at least twice for all of them.
At least 7 times
Even
for
3?
all of them. I've seen Tokyo Drift a lot.
Okay.
The one I've probably seen the least is the 4th one.
Okay. Well, he's seen them a lot, and this was my first time watching all of them. Maybe, as far as I know, in full, watching all of them all the way through. So, like, total 2 opposite ends of the spectrum here.
I'm a well-oiled machine.
I am a just oiled machine.
Yeah. Anyway, Fast and Furious, it starts off, Paul Walker just plays Brian. He's a dude. He's a cop.
But he's an undercover.
He's undercover, and he's trying to get Dominic Toretto.
Well, not necessarily. They think it's Dominic Toretto, but they know
Right.
somebody's behind these big heists where they're going up to these huge trucks and they're on the road, holding them up and stealing
getting the DVD players.
DVDs players, brand spanking new
Yeah.
DVD players, which I mean, probably thousands of dollars today of DVD players.
A lot of DVD players.
Yes.
Anyway, so he gets in there, he infiltrates, joins up the street race crew with Dom and his sister
And Vince.
and Vince and Letty and Jesse.
Jesse! Jesse!
And they're all just kind of chilling, having a good time. Tensions rise, though.
Oh, yeah.
Vince suspects that Brian might be an undercover cop.
Oh, he's a cop. He's a pig. He's gonna squeal. He's a pig, man.
And Dominic Toretto's like, I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Yeah.
And Brian's like, yeah, dude, I know.
Brian's like, I owe you a 10-second car.
Yeah, because he totally wrecked the one.
Yeah. He's like, I found this one. It's kind of shitty, but it's got a good engine or something. He does that. He slaps it. He's like, all right, let's do it. And the thing that, I mean, I guess I'll get into it right now, but
Okay.
the race scene, I mean, it's the forefront of this film is the race scene. Because as we see this
Lots of good
franchise go
races.
on, it'll obviously fall to the background or not be in it at all.
I still think there's a race in every movie, but anyway.
But the race scene, there's a race, but it's not like it's two people driving. It's not necessarily, oh, we're having fun and racing each other.
Okay, right.
The race scene where it's like people betting and stuff like that. And I really appreciate those parts of these movies. I really appreciate the like early 2000s aesthetic of the racing cars, like the candy orange Toyota Supra and stuff
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
cool.
The blue and green, real harsh clashing colors, stuff like that. That aesthetic in the cars, instead of, as we see later on, just the very high dollar, sleek looking, I mean, monsters of machines, but, they're all very sleek and stylized. I like this kind of very personalized touch on all these cars in these early films. It adds another layer of enjoyment to it for me.
Yeah, the cars are definitely a super cool little talking point throughout the movies. Less so in the later ones. They still have like really cool cars in the later ones, but the
Yeah.
early ones they have like the ones where you look at and you're like, whoa, that's
And there's
like a car.
sometimes there's scenes dedicated to like, look at the car.
Yeah, they're like, hey, check this out, man.
Yeah.
Look at the NOS on this thing.
What kind of engine does he have? Let's break in and see what he's got.
What's the thing where he's like, if I were to have a thing, would I do a this one or this
yeah.
one? And he's like, a 12. And he's like,
12?
oh, I didn't know pizza places made cars.
Oh, what a loser that guy.
Idiot. He doesn't know anything.
But that's not the first movie.
Yeah, that's in Too Fast.
That's in Too Fast.
Anyway, they find out that Brian is a cop and they get mad. They get so mad. Dominic Toretto's so mad.
He fell in love with Mia, and Mia's like, how could you?
He's like, ugh, how dare you?
I was so ready to have a baby with you, and now you're a cop.
Ridiculous. So anyway, they go to do a job, finally, another job. And they're like, nah, I don't feel good about this one. But Dominic Toretto's like, no, we're doing the job.
We're gonna do it.
And
Family.
So they try to do the job, but Vince, he gets in some trouble because the guy that's driving the thing is like shotgun hour.
Yeah,
and he's got like a reptile.
But this is kind of the thing we knew that was kind of the dramatic irony, I guess, broiling up to this point, because we knew that the drivers were arming themselves because they had enough of being stuck up. They were going to fight back.
But who's there to help save the day?
It's Brian. It's Brian. He came.
He shows up and he's like, let's save
Not as a cop,
Vince.
but as family.
As a family member.
As a family member.
Shows up. They save him. But he gets pretty messed up on the arm.
Yeah.
But he'll be okay. And then calls in the police medevac for him, and then he's like, you need to leave.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then probably one of the most iconic scenes in the whole franchise is the very end of the movie, their final drag race.
Oh, and people
front of
come
the train.
and then they shoot Jesse on the front lawn.
Right, Jesse gets murdered.
He's murdered like right in the front lawn, like on the sidewalk in front of the house.
Yes.
Great character.
We miss Jesse.
I miss Jesse
very much.
Why can't he come back?
They're
Imagine
still
Fast 11. They're like, who is the director? Oh my god, it's Jesse.
It's Jesse. He didn't actually die.
He's been the director from the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff all along.
That actually would be amazing.
It would be amazing. That's true. but they're running away.
Anyway, yes, they have this incredible drag race.
Vin and Paul.
Right. And there's a train coming, and they're like, we're going to beat the train. And they do. They beat the train, and they're like, holy crap, that was a sick drag race, man. And then, oh my gosh, there's a semi-truck, and then Dominic Toretto crashes into it and flips over a bunch of times. And the cops are coming, and Brian's like, listen, man, you take my car and you can leave, and I'll take the fall.
Mm.
And he's like, family.
Family.
And then that's it. Movie ends. That was it. Right there. No more Fast and Furious.
A one and done, you guys.
That was it. Until 2003.
Until the second best song in the franchise.
Second best song?
Yeah.
What's the
Too
first?
fast.
Oh, right. Okay. Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yes.
The second installment, directed by John Singleton.
Which, guys, I gotta say, if you were like me, or are like I was, and knew nothing about the series except for like trailers and stuff, this one can be a little put you off balance a bit, because Brian is the only, other than some of the cop FBI guys,
Right.
Brian is the only character who comes through from the first movie.
No Letty, no Dominic Toretto,
Mm-mm.
no Mia.
Not even a cameo in this
Nope,
movie.
nothing.
Completely gone.
It's just Brian. He's in Miami now,
Yeah.
being a police officer or a FBI agent.
Yes.
They're trying to take down, I forget his name.
He's
They're
some
trying
like
to take down the drug dude.
Matthew McConaughey drug man.
Yep. And
It's not Matthew
he's
McConaughey.
like, well, I'm going to need a teammate because this guy thinks that a pizza place makes cars.
Yeah, he's stupid.
So he's like, I know a dude from my past.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes and he meets up with
Tyrese.
Yeah, Roman.
Well, yeah, but Tyrese is his name.
Right. Well, Roman is his name in the movie.
Yes, but Tyrese
But
is
Tyrese
the human's
is the
name.
human's name
The
that
human.
plays him.
And they get in a tussle, and
They fight.
It's kind of a
He's like, Brian, you got me arrested.
it's kind of a thing in these movies of Brian always getting in tussles, and like not full fights, but just kind of like wrestling and maybe throwing a few punches. Gets in a lot of tussles, like all the way to like the sixth movie. I don't think he gets in a ton of tussle in the seventh, but up to
I
then.
don't remember. Yeah. Anyway, I just realized I totally skipped over there's a big race scene right at the beginning at Too Fast, Too Furious with Brian and Tej is right at the beginning.
Yes,
Tej played
yes.
by Ludacris.
Yeah,
You had recurring character.
You had Ja Rule in the first one, and then Ludacris comes back, and he's here to stay.
Yeah, he's in most of them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, most of them. They have a cool race. Suki. I wish Suki would come back.
Me too. She can be the director.
She was super cool. Everyone
Yeah.
liked Suki, but I guess I don't know. Maybe she just didn't want to.
Yeah,
be
maybe
in
she,
anymore.
maybe it was her. I don't know.
I don't know.
She had cool cars though.
Yep. Anyway, the cool race at the beginning. Anyway, they go to take down the dude. There's a intense moment where he puts a rat on a dude's stomach
Yes.
and is like puts the bucket on him and heats it up and he's like,
Yeah.
the rat has nowhere to go.
But down. Yeah, and so the rat starts scratching him and biting him.
And he's
and
like,
I'll tell you everything I know. I'm a crooked cop.
and he's like, I'll get the window. I'll get you your window. And he's like, yeah, you will. Give me
But
my
luckily,
window."
Brian and Roman have been able to keep their cover through all this,
Mhm.
and they're in with them.
And then they make an incredible plan
Oh, just
for
fantastic.
the day of to do the thing. So they go, they get the money, and the plan is to go to like the airstrip or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Catch him
they-
in the act, and the FBI will come out, the whole like SWAT team,
Yeah.
and they'll catch him.
They go and the cops are chasing them. The cops are interfering with the customs,
Mm-hmm.
whatever their plan. So they have a plan to like drive around and they drive into this like garage and then like 200 cars come out
Yeah.
of the garage.
It's
and
like-
it's a big scramble.
It's honestly like a highlight of not only that movie, but like for me, the series. I love that scramble.
It's a really cool
It's awesome.
moment, and there's just a big scramble with a whole bunch of really cool cars, and the cops chasing everyone, and they're trying to look for the cars that they were driving. They find them and they catch them, but reveal it's not them in the cars.
They did the
anymore.
whole
They
switcheroo.
did a switcheroo on them, and they swapped up,
Yeah.
and now they're just free riding on the highway. And he's like, "Let's go to the airstrip," and the one dude's like, "Who said anything about an airstrip?"
I only told one person about the airstrip. And that was the girl police officer who is also undercover. So he's like, I know she's up to it. I'm going to kill all of you. Let's go, lady, onto the boat.
Yeah, and they get on the boat, and then Brian and Roman are in the car, and they're like, "Well, how do we get on the boat? We're on a car."
I have an idea.
And Brian's like, "I got this," and Roman is like, "Whoa, we can't do that. You're crazy.
You're crazy.
And Brian's like, "Hold on, man." And he hits the nos, and he's like, and he friggin' drives the car off a ramp and crashes it onto the boat.
And the only guy with the gun gets hit off the boat, so it's cool.
Yeah, he flies off.
And luckily he doesn't crash and like sink it or just kill anybody just by driving a car into like, it's not like a yacht. I mean, it's a big boat, but it's not like a huge boat.
Right.
You know, it's like
The car fits well on it.
Yeah, it's like about the size of the car is like right fitting on it. So,
But it's tall. It has
It's
multiple
tall.
floors.
It's got like a basement.
Tall boat.
Do you call that a basement on a boat? What do you call that? It's got a
The
deck.
lower deck.
The lower deck, yeah. Basement.
The basement. Go to the basement. Anyway, they get the dude, and they're like, "Yay, we got the dude!"
I'm gonna kill you, fucker.
And he's like, "I'll get out." And
Yeah.
he's like, "He's not gonna get out." And then Brian's like, "Oh, he'll get out."
Yeah, I probably will. Yeah.
And Roman's like, "He's not gonna get out, right?"
And he's like, "Oh, we gotta return all this money." And it's like, "Is this all the money?" It's like, "Yeah, your sentence is cleared." He's
Yep.
like, "Okay, then
All cleared.
here's all the money. I was keeping it in case you were lying."
Yep.
And then he's like, "What do we do now?" And he says something like,
We stole money.
Yeah, he's like, "We stole a bunch of money again."
Yes.
And so now they are officially have money.
Yep. Good for them.
Good for them.
And
And the
then
movie ends.
Really great stuff. We get to meet Tej and Roman in this one, who will become prominent characters
Yeah, they
later in the
stay
series.
forever.
And I think Too Fast, Too Furious is one of the more underrated movies of the franchise, in my opinion.
Yeah, if we really want to get into the weeds about it, I think Too Fast, Too Furious won me with just the whiplash of not expecting it, you know? Because I knew Tokyo Drift was a lot different. I was ready for that one. But this one I wasn't really prepared for, so it just threw me for a loop a little bit.
Yeah.
That, I think, hampered my experience just a tiny bit, especially not knowing also that Roman would stay, or
Right.
and Tej. I thought it was just all these characters were going to disappear forever, and then Brian would just come back, you know?
Yeah.
So I wish I had known that Roman and Tej were here to stay, and that Suki was not here to stay.
Rip Suki.
But I definitely think it is one of the most peak and valley of the films. Like, the great moments are great, but I think the bad moments and a lot of the in-between, like cop stuff, like the really annoying antagonist cop, I hated in this film. I really thought he brought the movie down.
Yeah, okay.
Not just the character, but the actor as well. I just didn't enjoy.
Okay.
So this is probably the most up and down of them all, I think.
Okay. Interesting.
Even though it has one of my favorite moments in the entire franchise.
I know.
That scramble.
How about that?
Yeah.
So do you want to go in
Chronological.
chronological
How
order?
I experienced these films.
Yes.
Was
I made
chronologically.
sure that Justin here
Yes.
watched the movies in chronological order because I think that it makes them better. Yes, it makes it's better to watch it the first time in chronological order, I think.
At this point, if you don't know enough, I would say I probably agree.
Right. And to do that, you would watch the first two we just talked about, and then you would skip Tokyo Drift, and you would go straight to Fast and Furious from 2009, directed by Justin Lin, who is like the father of this franchise. He's directed like half of the movies.
But his first was the third one.
His first was Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
But he did Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, Fast 5, Fast 6, and then he came back for Fast 9 just now. But Fast and Furious is the next chronologically. It starts off, they're doing another heist on a trucker dude, but it's like some sort of like chemical or something, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But it's the whole crew. They got Dom, they got Brian, they got Letty, they got Han.
Yes, Han is there, and I was just like, "Who's Han?" And
Han is just
gotta
there.
explain to me.
And they're like, "Yo, let's get it." And a lot of crazy stuff happens. It blows up, whatever.
Are the Spanish brothers there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And them.
Yeah.
They do it, whatever, cool. Then they're like chilling, and Letty's like, "I gotta do something." And
That is what they're. She's
and
like
Dominic's
though.
like, "I." And then, oh my gosh, Letty is dead. Oh no.
Now, who would do this? You don't want to cross Vin Sorrento or not Vin Sorrento.
Dominic Toretto.
Dominic Toretto.
You don't cross
He's
Dominic
a dangerous
Toretto.
man. He almost beat a man to death with a pipe.
Wrench.
Or a wrench, yeah. A monkey wrench. So he'll get you.
Yeah, so him and Brian kind of team up. Brian's still in the FBI in this movie.
Yes. This is the one where he punches the guy in the nose sometimes, right?
Yeah. And he works to try to take down the new lead cartel leader,
Drug
dude.
man.
They get together. Him and Dominic Toretto. They're doing a job, and they meet the guy that they think killed Letty.
Yeah.
And Dominic hatches a plan, and he confronts him, and he's like, "Yeah, I did it, stupid bitch."
Do it again if she was still alive.
And then Dominic Toretto was like,
I hate you so much.
Anyway, so a bunch of crazy stuff happens. The fourth one is just, I don't know. It's hard one to remember.
Yeah, so they're across the border at that point, and that's when that confrontation happens, right?
Right.
And he blows up like all their cars, and they make their escape.
Yeah.
And they're going across the thing, and they're going through like these mines, which is a pretty cool sequence.
Yeah.
Especially when they're using the cars to like hit the beams that cause like the mine to collapse in certain areas. I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, they're at a disadvantage because they've only been through the mines once, but these other guys have made a bunch of passes and stuff.
Yeah.
But luckily, that doesn't matter at all, and they're totally fine at the end.
Right. They're the best. Dominic Toretto.
So yeah, I don't remember the drug kingpin's name, but there was kind of like a bait and switch where you thought it was this really old dude.
But it's not.
But it's not. It's the
actually
guy
the
they've
one
been dealing
dude.
with the whole time, and it's the one who's friends with Wonder Woman.
Right.
And
Gal Gadot is in this movie.
Yes.
This is the first movie that she ever was in ever.
She's good.
Yeah. So Fast and Furious, once again, another
Gave
amazing
birth
thing.
to
They
DC Comics.
created. Yeah. It created DC. So that's really cool.
That is cool. So yeah, there's that bait and switch, but eventually they get to him, and he does get killed, right? In this one.
Yeah. At the end.
Yeah.
Because they go through the mines again, then they go out into the desert, and then they have a big driving crash thing, and then I think he gets shot.
I want to say
Or
he
blows up or something.
shot or blows up or something.
And then Brian and Dominic are like family. And that's that. And they're sad that Letty's dead.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's dead and that sucks, and oh, boo-hoo.
What are you going to do? And then in 2011, Justin Lin comes back again.
Mm-hmm.
He brings us Fast Five, one of the greatest movies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Fast Five, just incredible. It's the first movie where it just brings everybody together.
I would say Fast Five is also probably the breaking off point of separating the two halves of this franchise from the more street level
Right.
to now we're getting to like international spy level.
Yeah.
You know, like how we are in the recent films.
Right.
This is like probably smack dab in the middle for good reason, because it is smack dab in the middle
Yeah.
of small scale and large scale.
Yes, it's very good. So they have a job. They need to do a job.
Mm-hmm.
They need to take down the another drug dude that has a lot of
He
money.
does. He has so much.
They're gonna take him down. So they're gonna get their team. They get everybody. We got Brian, Dominic, Toretto, Roman, Tej,
Han.
Yeah. Giselle, which is Gal Gadot's
Giselle
character,
Gal Gadot's character.
and the Spanish dudes.
Isn't it like Santos and Leo?
Maybe.
Maybe something like that.
Anyway,
funny
they're
though.
just funny dudes.
Yeah.
And that's the
Comic
crew.
relief.
And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. But Agent Hobbs of the DSS,
Some weird thing.
something like that, played by The Rock, shows up.
Yeah.
And he's tracking him down because he's going to stop him.
Yep.
And he enlists the help of Agent
Elena.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not Agent Elena. It would be her
But-
last name.
Yeah.
But
I don't know
Elena
that
is the
name.
name of the character. Anyway, enlists her help to try to help track him down, too.
Yeah, she's more of like a beat cop, and they're like, oh, why do you want her? It's like, because she's got the drive, because her husband was killed, and she knows what it's like
Yeah.
to lose somebody,
So he's kind of tracking him down throughout the whole movie.
and he's really good at it.
He is really good. He almost gets him
Almost.
the one time. And there's a really awesome sequence where they're running on the rooftops in Rio.
Because of course you have to go through the favelas and
Right. They're running away from Hobbs or whatever, and they're doing all this stuff, and they escape. And then Mia tells Brian. By the way, Brian and Mia, they're back together now.
Yeah, they're in love.
They're back together, and Mia's pregonate.
She is.
She's like, I'm pregonate, and he's like, oh my gosh, and Dominic Toretto's like, our family just got a little bit bigger.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, this is super great. And then maybe the single greatest action set piece of all time.
Well, hold on. I just want to get to the point that their original plan, which they're kind of like doing for like the whole movie, is to get a really small car that they can drift through to like pass all the security cameras.
Right, yeah,
so
yeah.
that they can like get it. So like they spend like 20 minutes on this.
Right.
Of like, we need to get the right car and have the right driver who can like get it and not be seen by any security
getting
cameras.
the cameras.
And they end up being like, this isn't going to work.
Yeah, we can't do this.
So let's just blow it up.
So they're like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get our cars. We're gonna drive in there, and we're gonna hook our cars up to the giant safe, and we're just gonna pull it out of the wall and just drag it through the city.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing. And they just drag the safe through the city, and it's rolling and crashing through things, and
probably countless unseen casualties.
Yes,
amongst the
people
pedestrians.
that are just standing on the sidewalk are most definitely just cut in half by the cables.
The cables of this.
It causes mass destruction, but it is amazing to watch, and it is mostly practical.
Yeah.
They had a dude in like this half car roll cage thing, and they put him inside of the safe, and he just like drove behind them and like flipped and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why it looks super cool.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it in our favorite action scenes episode. I'm pretty sure this made it on there.
Oh yeah,
This
it's one of the
scene.
best.
It's awesome. Like seriously, just watch that scene. It's great.
It's one of the best. They get to a long runway, and they're not going to be able to make it. So Dominic Toretto is like, Brian, you got a kid coming. You go. I'll stay. Family.
Yeah, family.
And Brian's like, fine. And he goes, and then Dominic Toretto does what only Dominic Toretto can do, and he kills like 30 police officers.
Yeah, corrupt police officers.
Right.
They're on the take.
He just drifts the safe into them and absolutely crushes their vehicles.
This is also the movie with the unkillable goon who shows up like 40 times and should be dead like 40 times in this movie, but he always crawls out.
Yeah,
and
he's like multiple shootouts and crashes, and he's like, I'm back.
I'm back.
Yeah. And then Dominic Toretto is gonna get caught, but then Brian shows back up, and he's like, I save you. And then Hobbs is like, what's up, guys? Thanks for helping me take down the dude.
Yeah, he's like, all right, pretzel dick, here's how it goes. I give you 1 day to get
24
away,
hours.
24 hours. And then
And then
I'm coming for your
I'm
ass.
gonna hunt you down.
Bitch
and
nugget.
He's like, Toretto, I'll be seeing you. And he's like,
Family.
no, you won't. And then they go away. Also, important, Dominic Toretto and Elena, the police officer, they kind of form a relationship.
Yeah, because Elena, the officer, lost her husband, and Dominic obviously lost Letty, so they have something to bond over.
And she had his necklace.
That as well.
So he takes it back from her, and then they have sex.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Family sex.
And then
Well,
turns out,
maybe not.
what?
Yeah, family sex.
Family sex.
That's not
yeah.
Fast and Furious.
No.
That's not what FF stands for.
And so they leave the safe there, and then they're like, okay, cool. And
Family
Rock
fornication.
is like, all right, let's open the safe. Opens the safe. It's empty.
It's a duplicate safe from their old plan.
Right.
Yeah.
So he could practice opening it.
Yeah.
And then cut. They're all in their little hideout. Cool music playing.
We're millionaires.
Yeah, they open it up. Boom. Like $12 million.
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh, yeah, baby. And then it's a little montage of them all having fun with their monies.
Is this the one where Tej and Roman both buy the same car?
Yeah, they're like, there's only one in the Northern Hemisphere.
Oh, guess there's two.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And then the brothers are playing, they're gambling, and they're doing the roulette game. And he's like, no, I put it all on green or whatever. And then you watch the ball roll around, and you're like, oh, what's going to land on? But it doesn't show you.
Don't know.
So I'm assuming they hit. I think they hit
I'm assuming they didn't.
No, I think they did.
Okay.
I think they definitely did. Anyway, Fast Five, incredible movie.
Maybe this is the point where we can talk about some of the relationships between the family.
Okay.
So you have Han and Giselle at this point are
Right.
a
Yeah.
thing.
They like each other. They have
like
feelings for each other.
They caught feelings for each other, and they're a great pair. I
Oh
love
yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
They're awesome. Brian's obviously the closest to Dominic Toretto, but Dominic Toretto really is the glue who like has the rapport with everybody. Dom's there, and he has like a direct relationship to everybody in the group, basically. Anybody else can sometimes be a little bit secondary, with the exclusion of Roman being Brian's direct connection.
Yeah.
But despite this, they all get along super well. I feel like that most of the time they have great chemistry all with each other.
Oh yeah.
And it really shines in this movie specifically, especially when everyone's taking their turns drifting around the track.
Yeah.
That just
a lot
seems
of
like a
great
good
banter.
kind of almost just like a hanging out vibe between all of them, even though it's like a super important job.
Yeah.
But I guess the reason why this movie is so popular and so well done is just because it nails like every single part of it. The cool cars, the chemistry between the characters and the likable characters, the action sequences,
In the family.
the stakes and the Hobbs. People like the Hobbs.
And Hobbs, yeah, he really revitalizes the franchise, I think. But yeah. And then, to continue in the chronological order, we go to 2013, Fast and Furious 6, also directed by Justin Lin. He's really killing it.
He's on a tear.
Fast and Furious 6 introduces Shaw. Owen Shaw as the main villain.
Shaw.
Who's Owen Shaw?
I don't know. Owen Shaw.
So he's like there, and he's like, I am gonna do things.
Yeah.
But there's an after credit scene of Fast
I was
5
wondering if we would mention it. Yeah.
where we find out that Letty is actually alive.
There's pictures of her
No.
that they printed out. The girl from Fast 2.
Yeah. So, beginning of Fast and Furious 6, Hobbs, he comes and he meets up with Dominic Toretto and Elena, who are now sleeping together.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, this is Letty. We have to go get
You're
her.
going to come work for me.
And he's like, yeah, okay.
Yes, of course. And even Elena's like, yeah, yep, you should. If it's my husband, I would. So
Yep.
go.
So he goes, and they have a little action sequence, and he finds Letty is working with Owen Shaw, bad guy.
Why? Letty, why? Why would you do this? My love.
And Owen Shaw's created these, like, really, like, skinny cars.
Like
that,
spatula cars.
yeah, and they just drive right in the cars and just
Send them flying.
send them going.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Very agile. And he has a whole team of very skilled drivers. They get totally, the family gets totally
Family
duped
gets
by him.
wrecked.
And
Keep wanting to say Vin. Dominic confronts Letty.
Yes.
He's like, what are you doing, Letty? I think she only shoots once, but Letty shoots him.
oh my gosh!
What, Letty? Why?
Letty, why would you do this? And then we get a scene with Letty and her crew, or not her crew, but with Owen's crew.
Yes.
And he's like, "Who is that guy? I don't know who that guy is."
Oh, really? Why is this picture you're at dinner together?
Well, I don't remember that.
I don't remember anything before the accident. So Letty is totally blank slate. She doesn't remember a thing.
She's
from
got
Fast
amnesia.
in the Furious.
This is so terrible.
Yeah.
How are they gonna fix this? Well, let me tell you how.
They-
It rhymes with family.
Is it family?
Family is how they fix it.
Yeah, kind of. They don't really fix it until like 2 movies later.
Right. But Dominic Toretto, he lays the groundwork.
Yes.
So they decide that they're going to get together and they're going to stop Owen Shaw. So they go to the epic, endless, infinite runway of doom.
They go to a runway that's at least 1,000 miles.
It's very, very long. But who cares? Because it's awesome.
So you have a plane that we looked up. It goes at like 163 miles per hour or something for takeoff. And the scene's like 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
So,
It's a long, long, long runway.
yeah.
But there's
20 minutes might even be too short. It's a
Yeah.
long scene.
and they're trying to escape with like whatever the thing is.
And it's the old crew, you know.
Yep, it's the whole crew.
Yeah.
You know the drill. The whole crew's together. They're having fun. They're in their cars chasing down the plane. They're like shooting harpoons in it and stuff, trying to keep the plane from taking off. They're having sweet epic fights on the plane.
Yeah.
And then the car stuff going on off the plane. And then tragically, during this part, Giselle
sacrifices herself
to save Han. And she flies off and crashes into the ground and dies.
There's a guy coming up. She's hanging off the edge of the plane or the car or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're going super fast, so if she falls, she'll die. But there's a guy who's going to come up and stab or shoot Han or something. And so she has to let go so she can pull out her gun and shoot him. And she does it. So she saves Han, but at what cost?
Right. So she falls and she dies. It's very sad.
Han is very broken up.
But alternatively, everyone else is doing great.
Yeah, everyone else killing it.
They're bringing the plane down. They're crashing things. The whole plane crashes into the ground and explodes. Yeah. But OMG, Dominic Toretto was in the crash in his car. Oh no. Dominic Toretto. And everyone's standing there holding each other like, OMG, Dominic Toretto. And then he comes walking out of the fire like...
Yeah. Doesn't cough or nothing. He inhales all that smoke and he's just like...
He's like, family.
Family invigorates me.
And they're like, OMG, this is so great. And then Mia... Of all people, Mia is the one who's like, "Where's Giselle?" And Han is like,
He can't even eat. He's so distraught.
Yes.
It's like trying to shove chips into his fat face, and they're just falling out because of tears.
And then they all get really sad that Giselle died.
Yeah.
But then, everything's okay. And also, Mia has her baby early in the movie.
Right.
And they have the baby, and Brian's like, "OMG, I need to be there for my kid."
Our baby, what was it? Pledgeling. What was the baby's name?
What is the baby's name?
I do not remember his baby's name. Jack?
Jack sounds good.
Jack sounds good. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. Because I know Toretto's kid's name.
Toretto's kid?
Oh, sorry. That's a spoiler for the 8th movie. My bad.
But we have to move on. We have to...
Chronologically.
So
there's the after credit scene of Fast and Furious 6, but you cannot watch that or it will ruin Tokyo Drift.
Guys, your Tokyo Drift experience will be so different if you watch it. You cannot.
Do not watch the after credit scene for Fast and Furious 6
Can't stress
until
that
after
enough.
you watch Tokyo Drift.
Do not watch it.
So you watch 6, don't watch the after credit scene.
Yes.
Then you watch Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift from 2006.
Well, actually, don't you want to watch the first 10 minutes of 7? And then stop it, and then watch 3, and then watch the end credit scene of 6, and then go back to 7.
If you want to get real technical with it, yes.
That's the way you do it.
But for all purposes here, just watch 6. Don't watch the credit scene. Watch Tokyo Drift.
I can't wait. Let's get talking about Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift starts off. We got Lucas Black.
Well, what's the year in the...
2006, and for the first movie, that's directed by Justin Lin.
So this is way back in 2006. We just came from 2013, right?
Yes.
So that's the chronological order.
And it's supposed to take place after Fast and Furious 6.
And Fast and Furious 6 takes place in 2013, I think.
Right, which creates some timeline issues.
It really gets a little strange. It's part of why I love
But it doesn't matter. Because Tokyo Drift is sweet.
We got Lucas Black. He plays Sean.
Sean? He plays Sean?
Sean. He's just your average 17-year-old.
He's 17. And he looks like he's 35.
Okay, guys, listen. I guess we'll get into it when we get to the next movies, but he's 23, I want to say, in this movie when he's supposed to be playing a 17-year-old. So that's 6 years. But he looks like an old 23-year-old.
Yes.
He really does. So
he's like balding already.
The very first scene, I love this movie. The very first scene, it's like him and this jock guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'll race you," and it's like, "Oh, well, I'll race you for the car." He's like, "Oh, I don't want your car." So the jock's girlfriend goes, "You guys can race, and the prize, whoever wins, gets me." And the guy's like, "Okay, I'll put my girlfriend up for sale."
Mm-hmm.
And so they race, and they're going through this weird construction area. They're building homes, and Sean has a tough time of it, but he's literally destroying all of these houses in construction.
But he wins.
But he wins at the end of the day. Doesn't get the girl.
Doesn't get the girl.
Doesn't get the girl. because he goes to.
Well,
prison.
technically he doesn't win. Because they both crash.
Right, they crash.
But
they
he was
crash.
going to win.
He was gonna win. The guy just had a temper tantrum.
Yeah, and he's like,
"Ugh."
and they both crash, and Lucas is going to go to prison, and the rich dude is not.
So are we calling him Lucas or Sean?
Oh, well, just like whatever.
Okay.
Everyone knows who we're talking about, right?
I don't know if they do, but yes.
Well, I hope you do.
So his mother comes in.
Yeah, and he's like, listen,
Sean, you little bitch.
we can't keep moving every time you get in trouble.
By the way, Sean has a very, very thick Southern accent. He's from Alabama. So thick. So
It's-
he's like, Mama, what you talking about? I can't go back. They don't got no cars in Tokyo. I don't know what I'd be doing over there. The alleyways are so small, I can't even fit my 51 Chevy out there.
You're gonna go live
They
with
got
your
those.
dad.
They got those vending machines that sell them girls' panties. Now, what you think about that, Mama? I'm just a little Bama boy. That's my online handle. _ Bama _ boy.
Bama boy.
So he goes live with his dad. He's like, you've had enough. You're
In
always
Tokyo.
racing. You've only had your license for like a year, presumably, but you've raced so much and we've moved so much in a single year that you got to go to Tokyo with your dad, who is in the Navy, which
And-
is very subtle, guys. It's actually very subtle that he's in the Navy. But if you look, every single scene the dad is in, he's in from head to toe an outfit that says Navy all over it. But if you're not paying attention, you can miss that.
Right, yeah. It's easy to miss.
Yeah, but it goes about from his belly button to his nipples. It just says Navy in big black letters.
Yep. And his dad is hiring prostitutes, which is cool.
Mhm. And for some reason, he just lives in a shack instead of on a base or something.
Yep.
And his son, who presumably doesn't know any Japanese, just goes to a Japanese school instead of. I don't know how
Yeah.
it works, but I don't think that's how
so
it
he's
works.
like goes there. But there's other American people there, so it's cool.
There's a surprising amount of American people at this Japanese high school.
One of them being
Twinkie!
who
Bow Wow.
people love to call Twink.
They love to call him Twink. They're like, hey, Twink.
Hey, Twink.
I love your Hulk car. Also, he has a Hulk car that he gets from the Japanese vending machine.
Yes, which is just pretty amazing.
And Sean's like, boy, howdy. Now, this is a
Vehicle.
vehicular device.
And so Twink is like, here, let's go have some fun. But his dad, remember, his dad is like, you go to school and then you come home. You don't touch any cars.
No racing.
So whatever, they go to a race. But racing in Tokyo is a little different.
It's a little different. He's not prepared. It's no 10-second races out here in Tokyo.
So they're chilling and he's getting all the experience. And who's there other than Han?
He's eating.
He finally went to Tokyo after him and Gal Gadot said that that's where they were going to go.
Yeah, he got over it because he's got like 4 women on him.
He's got hoes.
He's got a lot.
Um,
He's eating his chips.
So he's
his
chilling
beans
and
his-
he's like, Lucas is like, I want to race the Drift King.
And he's like, you don't got a car to race the Drift King, you dip.
And then Han is like, you can race my car.
And he's like, what?
Okay.
Sure. He's like, yeah, just don't break it. And he's
And
like, I can do that.
yeah, I'll win the race. And they're like, hey, have you ever drifted before? And he's like, what's drifting?
What? Drifting? That sounds homosexual.
And he's like, okay, give me the rundown on how to drift. He's like, pull that e-brake and then twisty. And he's like, all right, I got this. And he gets totally schooled by the Drift King.
And he absolutely destroys Han's car. Like it's basically in pieces by the end of it.
It's very bad. Very embarrassing. So Han then doesn't hire him, but he makes him
enlists him
to do some jobs for him to help pay back his car. Do some jobs for the Yakuza.
Yes.
They do some jobs. It gets a little sticky.
Mm-hmm.
A little sticky.
Sean starts kind of getting a thing for the DK's girl.
Yeah,
you know,
and he don't like that.
It's kind of weird because the Drift King. So the Drift King's grandmother had raised his girlfriend from like a child, and now they're dating. That's just a detail.
It's interesting.
It's a little weird.
Everything's okay though.
Yeah, it's fine. Family.
All the while, Han is teaching Sean how to drift.
Yeah, and he's like, you know why I came to Japan? Japan is my Mexico.
Yep.
That's a big thing for him.
Which will be very important in one of the future movies.
It won't be.
Anyway, teaching them how to drift, whatever. They learn how to drift, and then they have a deal that goes bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the Drift King is like, rah, 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 rah.
Exactly.
And he's like, I'm going to shoot you, Han. And they're like, we have to get out of here.
He's like, what? You can't do this to me just because I'm a guy Gene? I got Levi's. I got Wranglers. Of course I'm a Gene guy. We put the noun first.
And then we have this super awesome chase sequence through the streets of Tokyo, where they're all drifting around. Lucas and Han are drifting around trying to outrun the DK and other Yakuza.
Yeah.
There's a crazy moment where they get to like that big square in Tokyo where like all the people always are.
Like Shibuya or whatever, or Shinjuku or something like that.
Yeah, I think Shibuya. I think you're right.
Okay.
And they're in like that big square where everyone's walking all the time.
Yeah, and everyone's pulled out their flip phones because it's 2013.
Yeah, everyone's got their flip phones ready, and they're like, "Oh, sweet! Look at these cars driving. They're driving fast. Oh my gosh!"
There's a pretty cool scene though, yeah, where they drift through the crowd and the crowd like opens
the
up.
crowd spreads apart
You're
for
like,
them, obviously, and they drift through them. It's sweet. But then, as they're driving, Han gets blindsided by this car and flips over, and it's really nasty wreck, and he's in the car, and he's all like,
Yeah.
and then, but his car's dripping NOS, and it catches flame, and then
Han blows up.
And he dies.
Dead.
This is why you need to watch
I had no idea.
them in chronological order.
I had no idea. I was like, oh, Han, he's so cool. And this is his first movie. And I'm like, oh, this is why it's not chronological. Because everyone loved Han, so they're like, he needs to come back, but he's dead.
Yep. So just really amazing. I never got to experience this, but like, what were your feelings? Explain to me your head when you saw the car explode.
Well, it was when the car first flipped and I saw Han, because here's the thing. People don't get messed up in this movie. If they crash, they're fine. They don't get dirty. They don't get little scratches. They just get out of the car. So at first, the first thing that happens is the car's upside down and Han's bleeding. And that alone was like, why is Han bleeding? That doesn't happen in these movies.
Right.
And so from there, I was just like, what is going on? And then I saw the drip and there was the fire and I was like, this isn't like happening. And then it exploded and I was just like, ah! Han! He's dead!
Yeah, you've grown to love him for three
know.
whole movies.
And I feel like I had a
half.
very special experience because I'm one of the few people, I assume, who's had this experience of getting to know the character first and then having him taken away from me. And it was honestly, I thought it would make me hate the movie, but I don't, just because the movie's so funny. But it was very, very, it actually was affecting. I mean, I'll say this throughout the whole series, that was probably the thing that got me the most because I watch it chronologically. Other than, of course, Paul Walker, because that's
right in the
real
seventh
life.
movie.
Yeah.
So that is something that happens, and then they get away, and Lucas is like, I'm gonna have a drift off with the Drift King on his drift hill.
Well, no, he says, I'm gonna have a drift off with the Drift King on his drift hill.
Yep, that's what he's gonna do.
I reckon.
In front of the Yakuza boss.
Yeah, to get his
man.
respect. Because he's like, oh, you already beat him once, so why don't you challenge him again, bitch?
Yeah,
it should be easy.
It should be easy.
Yeah.
So they have their race, and Lucas Black wins.
He wins.
He beats the Drift King. So now he's the new Drift King.
He's the new Donkey Kong.
And he gets the girl.
The Goral.
And Twinkie is like, yeah, buddy.
I'm the Twink Man.
And then
I love you, Twink.
the end of the movie is they're back at their little drift off thing.
And Twink is like, I'm a Twink, and there's someone here to... Well, he's not Southern. He's like, there's someone here to race you, Sean.
He's like, I don't feel like racing today.
He says he knew Han.
You reckon?
Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit.
Yeah, that's all you had to say there.
That's all you had to say, partner. Gosh darn it. Dagnabbit, this is more fun than a hoedown in July. I reckon.
So, Black Phillip.
I reckon you had a mighty great fall there, my friend.
Indeed.
You were gonna look like Han in the morning, in the early hours. Sometimes I wake up, I go out to the barn, and I get on my favorite horse, and I say, ride! And I say, this is my second favorite type of Mustang.
Yeah. Okay. He gets ready for the race. Who pulls up other than Dominic Toretto? Pulls up. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to race you. And he's in his little muscle car or whatever. And then they're like, go. And then the movie ends.
Yes.
Oh, who wins the race? We will find out in the 7th movie, which we're going to talk about right now. In 2015, Furious 7 comes out, directed by James Wan. They switched up Justin Lin after directing 4 movies in a row. They switched up, and they brought in James Wan from Conjuring fame. Furious 7, good movie. Really good movie.
Yeah.
So, Furious 7 starts off... Oh, wait. Now you can watch the after credits scene of 6. So what happens in that one is we're back in Tokyo. It's the scene...
It's Han's death.
Where they're racing again. They race. But as they're racing, we're getting...
radio chatter
from inside of another vehicle, and someone's listening in. They're making a move.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What?
The car that the person is in listening to the radio crashes into Han. It was a setup?
What? Who walks out in front of Han's car but
Jason Statham, also known as Deckard Shaw.
Shaw.
He's on the phone. He says, Dominic Toretto, you don't know me. You're about to.
We get to do the southern accent for Lucas, and we get to do the British accent for Shaw.
And then the car blows up. OMG, Deckard Shaw killed.
He murdered him.
Han, this is unforgivable.
Killed. I killed him with a gun.
With a car.
Or with a flame. With a gun is a explosion that propels metal, and what is a car exploding except metal being propelled by an explosion?
There you go. So that's our introduction to him. And then Fear 7 starts off. It's Deckard Shaw. He's talking to somebody.
But who?
Who's he talking to?
You know, our dad. Or wait, he's British. You know, Pop. What do they say? Papa used to beat the shit out of me, and I defended you.
Yeah.
Little brother.
It's Owen Shaw. He survived the
I'm
plane
Deckard
crash.
Shaw, and you're Owen Shaw, and you just barely survived the crash.
He's real messed up, though. He's in the hospital.
I shall avenge thee, brother.
And he's like,
Even though
yep,
you're still alive.
I'll avenge you. And then he starts walking away, and there's a bunch of nurses cowering in the corner like, ah.
And he absolutely demolished this hospital.
And
like, there's
then-
guards just on the ground, and yeah.
It's a sweet scene where he's like walking through the hospital, and it's just showing that like he just killed everybody
to get through, yeah.
to get to him. And then he's like walking out or whatever, and he looks super badass. And then it's like, it's Furious 7 time, baby. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is super crazy. And then Brian and Mia, they're at the house.
They
And
have a nice
Dominic
little villa.
Toretto's there too. They're at their house, and they're chilling. And they're like, okay, let's take Jack to school.
Jack was their dad's name, so it probably was Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, take Jack to school. And Dominic Toretto comes in. And he's like, here's a car. And he's like, he likes these kinds of cars, the red one.
Or the muscle or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
He's gonna like American muscle, like a Toretto.
Yeah.
Not those silly imports. They're all chilling. They're like, sweet, let's take the kid to school. And then they're like, Dom, you have a package. It's from Tokyo. OMG, it must be from Han.
Oh, cool.
He must have sent them something really nice. Sitting on the porch. Oh my gosh.
The child's dead. There's pieces everywhere. Jesse's body just got propelled across the street again.
But not before he gets the phone call.
Oh, yes.
Dominic Toretto, you don't know me. You're about to.
Yeah, and it blows up.
And
The
then
kid's
it blows
fine.
up.
I lied.
Kid's okay.
He was in the car, so he's fine.
Their whole entire house
Leveled.
blows up and is totally destroyed.
Yeah.
They're all okay. They dive out of the way. And they're like, oh my gosh, who could have done this?
Yeah. Also, even though the bomb was on the front porch, the house next to him was like fine.
It gets some black on it probably from the fire.
Right,
but
a little bit, but otherwise fine.
it's pretty much okay. Their house though, not
Gone.
not fine, totally destructoed. This is terrible. How could this have happened?
Yeah.
They're like, well, we need to do something about this.
Yeah, we need to get this Shaw guy.
Let's get the team.
Mm-hmm.
They get the team, but they're like, what are we gonna do about our kid? So they're like, let's send me and the kid to this super nice place where they're super safe.
Yes.
And they are
Elena
super safe for a little bit.
Elena will stay there too.
Right. And Elena's there too.
Protect them.
And they're chilling. And then Deckard Shaw is like, I'm Deckard Shaw, and I'm super bad guy. I want to kill all of you.
I want to kill all of you.
Specifically Dominic Toretto.
And then I want a bottle of water because I'm kind of thirsty.
So he finds them, and they have a big moment where they chase each other, and then Dominic Toretto and Deckard Shaw have this face-off, and they play a little game of chicken with their cars. They drive straight at each other, but they both have balls of steel.
Yeah.
And none of them turn out of the way, and they crash right into each other.
Oh, pip pip cheerio.
And then they're about to fight, and Dominic Toretto pulls out like a wrench or whatever.
I've got a gun.
He's
fucker.
like,
he thought this was gonna be a street fight.
yeah, he says that's exactly what he says.
Yeah.
And then you're like, OMG, Dominic Toretto, what's he going to do? He's going to get shot. And then all of a sudden, people propelling from the
ceilings, the rafters,
the
skylight.
The overpass.
Or yeah, whatever.
They come down and they're like, and then Deckard Shaw's like, OMG, I got to run away. So he runs away. And then who comes out? It's
Nobody.
Kurt Russell.
Oh, I thought it was nobody.
Well, he is nobody. He's like, hello, Dominic Toretto. And he's like, who are you? And he's like, me? I'm just a guy. I'm nobody.
I'm Mr. Robot. I'm nobody.
And he's like, I think I just saved your life there.
I think Mr. Nobody's stupid name. Just want to put that out there.
It kind of is. But
yeah.
He's cool, though.
Yes.
And so he's like, yeah, I'll help you get Deckard Shaw because because the God's Eye.
Yes, we need to get the God's Eye into good hands because it can go into any camera.
Yeah,
basically.
he's like, we can help you get Deckard Shaw, but you have to help me get the God's Eye so we can get Deckard Shaw.
Yeah.
The people that have the God's Eye are another group of bad people. So they're like, let's assemble your team. But he's like, I've already done that for you. Here's your team. You want a Corona? He's like, you want this brew that...
You want this Belgian
brew. And he's like, no, I want a Corona.
I want a family Corona.
And he's like, fine, but you should really try that Belgian brew.
I think you'd really like it. Ha.
And then they're like, sweet, the whole team is here. Let's go get that God's Eye. Let's go do it.
Letty's like, I still don't remember anything, but okay.
Yeah, she's like, but we're kind of family now.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of us kissing, so close enough.
They're like, okay, let's make a plan for how we're going to get this convoy. And Roman's like, you know what? I'm tired of everybody always taking the lead. I want to start having leadership. And they're like, okay, Roman, make the plan.
Yeah, and just after the second movie, Roman has been 100% comic relief.
Yes, he's very funny.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I didn't
luckily
mean like
he actually
now.
is funny. Yeah.
And then he's like, I say we hit it here. And the one guy is like, it is physically impossible to hit it there. That is the most secure part on the entire mountain. We cannot hit it from there. And he's like, but that's exactly what they want you to think.
Yeah.
And then they're like, wait, guys, he might be onto something.
Maybe he's right.
And then, so they come up with this amazing plan. And my personal favorite stunt
We'll drop in
the whole franchise.
We'll pull a Fortnite.
They pull a Fortnite, and they're like, where we landing, boys? And they drive their cars out of a plane in the sky, and they parachute in their cars down onto the
car's
road.
parachute.
And it's real.
Yeah.
You can watch behind the scenes of this. They literally just dropped cars out of a plane, and they threw skydivers after them, and they just filmed whatever they could.
Nice.
It's pretty freaking cool, if you ask me.
Pretty neat.
And whatever, they get there, and then they have to get this convoy with just the bus. And they need to get a hacker person named Ramsey. They're like, we need to get the hacker person so we can get the God's Eye. And they're like, okay, cool. Cool action set piece follows. They get Ramsey.
Kills.
But Paul Walker, oh my gosh, he's stuck in the bus that's hanging off the edge.
Oh no, it's just like Uncharted 2.
He's got to run up the bus, and he jumps, and who comes to his to his
Rescue.
rescue. But Letty, she goes drift, bam. He hangs
Grabs
on to
on,
the
yeah.
spoiler, bam. Everyone's safe,
Yeah.
family time.
Spoiler. He grabs onto the spoiler.
Yeah.
And it says, "Oh, it's his dad the whole time." And he's really shook up about it.
Yeah. And then they're like, cool, we got it. Ramsey turns out to be
Miss
Sunday from Game of Thrones.
Miss Sunday, yeah. Grey Worm's girl.
Natalie Emmanuel. I think
Yeah,
that's her
that
name.
sounds right.
She's great.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she actually, which I didn't think when Furious 7 came out, but she actually becomes like a prominent character
Yes, she
throughout
does.
the next
Yeah.
few movies.
And she's like a hacker girl. She's a big hacker.
She's like the best hacker in
She's
the
like
world.
the second best hacker in the
Well,
world.
she is the best until the next movie
Yes.
when there's somebody that's better than her.
Right.
Kind of.
No, not kind of.
Well,
Mm-mm.
they can have like hacker wars.
Yeah, but she would win without Tej's help.
Right. Okay. Anyway, they get the God's Eye and they're like, okay, let's find Deckard Shaw. Where's he at? OMG, he's in this L.A.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, let's get him. Wait. Yeah. No. Yes.
You're confusing me now.
They're like, okay, cool, let's get him. So they're like, let's find him. And they set up this whole operation and they find him and he's like eating dinner.
Yeah. He's like, "This is all I want. Like 12 guys.
A dozen men.
Dozen men.
And then
And you didn't even bring me a bottle of water."
a bottle of water. and what I think is pretty badass, he goes to wipe his mouth with the napkin, but as he's wiping it, he pulls the pin on a grenade.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, bitches. You didn't think I had a plan for this?"
You must have thought I was all 6s and 7s if I didn't have a bolly wop for this jiggle jaggle.
And then boom, the bad guys that had the God's Eye, or they show up and they're like, "Let's get them."
Yeah.
And they have an epic shootout, and Mr. Nobody gets shot, and he's like, "Oh no, I've been shot."
Nobody's been shot. Oh, good.
And then they drive away, and he's like, "Listen, you need to have a Belgian brew, but it's okay, I won't die because I have like 24/7 medevac on standby. They're already on their way."
Yeah, that's cool.
And they're like, "Okay." And then they're like, "Okay, let's go find Deckard Shaw." They go to find him. They have a crazy driving with the drones that are shooting at things and exploding in the city. And eventually it comes down to Dominic Toretto and Deckard Shaw standoff on top of a parking garage. And they are like, "Let's fight." And then Dominic Toretto's like, "Oh, you thought..." Oh, no. Dominic Toretto's like, "You thought this was going to be a street fight?
Oh, shiver me timbers.
Blimey."
That's Australian.
Oh.
Obviously, shiver me timbers. It's British. I don't know. Good.
Anyway, that was fun. So they start having a super epic fight. And Hobbs is here too, by the way.
He's hanging
He's
out.
hanging out, just he's helping them out, whatever. So they're all fighting Deckard Shaw, and they're fighting the lackeys. Dominic Toretto's fighting Deckard Shaw. They're fighting everybody else. The giant helicopter comes and blows up the parking garage, and they're like, "OMG, what? Oh my gosh, they're falling. Dominic Toretto, is he gonna be okay?"
I just remembered a part from the movie. I don't remember if it's this movie, but it's one of the movies, and I wanted to point it out. I forget if it was even this movie or when. No, I think it was in the Owen Shaw movie, where Letty got like thrown across a bridge, and Dominic Toretto literally just drove his car off and jumped off, and they like landed into a car on the other side of the bridge like randomly.
Right, that's in 6.
That's in
we didn't even talk
6.
about. There's a part in 6
Yeah.
with like a tank.
Right. We didn't talk about the tank.
There's
I
a
was thinking
cool
about
tank
that.
set piece in 6 where they
Yeah.
like drive a tank or whatever, and Letty's like flying through the air, and Dominic
Yeah.
Toretto like jumps out and like catches her over the bridge, and then they
But
crash into the car.
because
Pretty amazing.
they land on Dom's back, everyone knows he's indestructible.
He's
So like literally anything can happen to him.
Yeah.
But as long as he's hugging somebody, they're fine.
Right. That also reminds me,
Yeah.
close to the beginning of Furious 7, which we're currently talking about.
Yeah.
Deckard Shaw pays a visit to Hobbs in the thing.
Oh, right,
And
yeah.
they have a cool little fight scene where Deckard Shaw ends up blowing him up, and he
They blow
falls
him out
like
a
5
window.
stories, and he catches Elena.
And he does the same thing.
And they land on a car, and he's like, "Ugh."
But he's not fine. He goes to the hospital.
Yeah, he's pretty messed up
And
from
introduces his daughter as well.
it. Right. And he's like, "Yes, this is my daughter." And so he's kind of watching from the sidelines the whole movie until this final part where he stands up. This is one of the greatest moments in the whole series. And he has his cast on, and he just goes,
and like flexes it off.
It just breaks the cast, and he's like, all right, let's do it. So yeah, and then they do it, and they blow up the helicopter, and they're like, you know what? Yay, we did it. But OMG, Dom is dead.
He's dead for real.
OMG, and Letty's like, OMG, and Paul Walker is like, we need to do CPR, save him. OMG, we need to do it. And Letty's like, stop it, just stop it.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I remember everything. I remember this and that and this. And it's very emotional. And then Dominic Toretto is like all dead and stuff. And he's like, it's about time. And then he's back, baby. Dominic Toretto can't be killed.
Nah.
He's back. And they're all chilling. They're like, yay.
Family.
And then we get an extra scene. Because unfortunately, after this movie was finished, Paul Walker tragically passed away after this movie was finished, but before it came out.
Yeah.
So they added this extra scene where they have him on the beach with his kid and his wife, and they're all sitting there just kind of like watching him. It's very emotional, and they're all like just enjoying the moment.
Yeah, they
They're
all.
like, "Oh, let's
it
enjoy
kind of gives
this."
each of the actors like a last, almost like word about Brian's character.
And they all have this very sweet moment, and then Wiz Khalifa starts playing that the classic song. It's been a long day. Anyway,
Yeah.
that plays, and it sounds stupid, but it actually kind of hits hard.
It does. Yeah.
And then the classic scene that everybody knows. He drives up.
Pulls up to
Vin Diesel pulls up to a stop sign. Who pulls up next to him in his little import, but Brian in his little import car, and they're like chilling, and they're driving next to each other, and they
So he
look at
couldn't
each
say
other,
he
and they
could leave
smile.
without saying goodbye, huh? Or
Yep.
something like that. And it is like a CGI Paul Walker.
Right, yeah.
It looks
Because it's, shot. And
yeah.
it's okay.
It's okay.
It's doable.
Yeah. It's not going back and you're going ah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
And then they drive, and the song plays, and you're crying, and then they part ways on the road,
Yeah.
and Brian drives off into the mountains.
Yeah.
And that's the last we see of him in the Fast and Furious franchise. I remember very vividly watching this in the movie theater, and every single person was crying.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
It was very emotional, especially if you've seen all the movies and you had all this build up. It was very emotional.
I mean, even
time.
just literally binging them in like a week.
Right, yeah.
I still felt that. I was like, dang, yeah, this guy.
And
And I knew
obviously
him,
it
of
was-
course, from Tammy and the T-Rex as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, dang,
And it was a really beautiful send off for him. And then the movie ends.
Yeah, and
Furious 7.
I thought it was great for them to do that for the character as well, instead of just being like killing off his character. They
Right,
give
he
him
just
like
goes
a really
to
sweet
live.
ending. Yeah, it's nice.
Goes to live because he has a kid now. He's not part of that life anymore.
Yeah.
And then we get to the fate of the Furious. Fast and Furious 8, directed by F. Gary Gray, 2017.
Yeah.
This is a big moment, obviously, because Paul Walker not in this one.
Yeah, it's the first one without him.
So they're like, okay, whatever, let's do it. There's a new hacker girl named Cypher,
Yeah.
played by the one, the only Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron.
Your favorite, your absolute favorite, and anything you'd like to say about Charlize Theron?
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, anyway. She meets up with Dom. She's like, hey, Dom, you enjoying your honeymoon?
Yeah. It's like,
Well-
I think my fuel injector is something wrong with it. She's like, oh, I know, because I have it right here.
Yeah, and then she's like, why don't you take a look at this? And she shows
Yeah.
him something, and then he's like,
We don't know, but it drives him mad. He's
it
like,
gets
what?
really mad.
And
She's
so-
like, yeah.
It causes Dom to turn on his family.
Flips on the family? What?
That's not Dominic
Dominic
Toretto.
Toretto
What's
would never,
happening?
ever
What
flip on
did
the
she
family.
show him that made him turn on the only thing he cares about, family?
So he gets with them, the family, and
Yeah.
they heist a EMP device.
Mm.
And then at the very end of it, they're like, Hobbs is like, good job, Toretto.
Yeah,
we
you
did a
did
great
it."
job here. And then he crashes into him and crashes him. He's like,
Sends him off
Toretto,
the road.
it's not too late. And then he's like, he just looks at him, he walks away with the EMP device, and he's like, now it is. And he's like, ugh. So
So Dominic's AWOL.
He's rogue.
And the whole family is like, what's going on? Letty's like, I can't believe this. Dom wouldn't do this.
Yeah. Then we find out that Cypher has Elena trapped in her little cool plane that never gets detected because they fly at the perfect
time
to where they don't get detected.
Yes. The way the sidelights and the flight paths, there's little hallways they can go through.
They're perfect. Anyway, turns out Dominic Toretto has a kid with Elena.
Remember when they banged for that little time? Well,
Yep.
she got pregger. She got pregante.
Pregante.
Pregnate.
So Dominic Toretto has a kid. Now you understand. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. He has that's family.
That's family. The only thing that can make him turn on family is family.
Exactly. And Tormund shows up.
Torbjorn.
Torbjorn shows up from Game of
Tormund
Thrones
from
fame.
Game of Thrones.
And he's one of Cypher's lackeys. And then they're like, okay. And Cypher's like, I'm going to manipulate Dom to do all these things. And so, whatever. And they're all like, so the crew now, the family, they're with Mr. Nobody. And Mr. Nobody's like, all right, he's rogue. We need to take care of him. And they're like, okay.
And Roman's like, why don't we just use the God's Eye?
They're like, okay.
That's brilliant.
Great
Roman.
idea.
Oh, why didn't we think of that, Roman? Oh, so glad you're here. Thank you.
And they're like, we can't use the God's Eye because this and this and this and this and this. They have their pop up everywhere. But then they reverse engineer it and find
Ramsay
out where they
and
are.
Tej.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're like, and Mr. Nobody's like, huh, that's funny. And they're like, oh, what's funny about that? And he's like,
That's where we
that's
are.
right here.
Yeah.
And then
Explodes. They have an ambush
OMG.
attack. Dom
They
and
get
Cypher.
ambushed. Cypher and Dom show up. They're like, do do do.
They throw out a little device that like is high frequency that puts everybody on the ground.
Yep.
And they're like concussed basically.
They're concussed real bad, and they're
Yeah.
like, they can't do anything about it, and they steal it. And then they're like, OMG. And then Letty's like, Dom.
And then Cypher makes out with Dom right in
They
front of
have
everybody.
a crazy sloppy kiss.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, how could you?
It's like an end of Clueless kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they leave, and they're like, OMG, this is terrible.
That's crazy.
What has happened to Dominic Toretto? This is so messed up.
Yeah.
So it turns out Cypher has a plan to go to this submarine that's in this base, EMP it, steal it, hack it, and then
Get
she
control
has
of
control
nukes.
of the nukes so she can make the world her bitch.
She can do whatever she wants. She never really... Here's the thing. Is Cypher a bad guy? She is definitely, like, totalitarian. Like, she wants to
Yeah.
be in control of everything. But she never says that she wants to end the world. She just wants it to be the way... I think she said she wants to hold people accountable or something like
Yeah.
that. So, like, obviously she's misguided, but she has a goal in mind. She doesn't
Right.
just want to kill everybody.
Which is cool.
It is cool.
So anyway,
There's a great scene, I thought. I just want to point this
Yeah.
out. Between Cypher and Vin Diesel. When
Oh, yeah,
I think it's when
really
she
great.
first shows him Elena and his kid. Where they have like a face-to-face where he's like, oh, yeah, you can kill me. Here's a gun. But he knows like, oh, if I kill her, then the plane will go down like everything. So whatever. So it's like, so I don't have a choice. And it's just like a back and forth between them.
I ain't got a choice.
Yeah, I thought it was really good back and forth
It is a really
between
good
them.
scene.
It's like probably his most impressive piece of acting, I think, in the franchise
Yeah.
is that scene between those
Probably
two.
for sure.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention, Mr. Nobody enlists the help of Deckard Shaw to
Yes.
join the crew. And obviously,
He
Hobbs
killed
and everyone is
Han!
like, whoa, 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 we can't do that. He killed Han. And
I'm
he's
not
like,
working with
listen,
him."
listen up here, you bubs. I don't want to be here as much as you don't want to be here. Let's get it done, all right? Innit?
Yes.
And they're all like, oh, yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, sure, yeah, whatever.
So then they team up. Kinda. They team up. And they're like, dude, let's do it. Let's take down Dominic Toretto. We're back in the plane. Dominic Toretto's like, okay, we're done now. And Cypher's like, no.
I'm done when we
We're not
say
done.
we're done.
Yeah, I'm done. We're done when I say we're done. You're right. That's what she says. And then she has Torbjorn shoot Elena in the head
We think.
right in front of Dom. Right. For now.
We don't know, but he shoots. He's in the room, and the last thing we see is his pointed at her head, and then we hear gunshots.
and he freaks out.
So we assume that he shot her.
And they say in the later movies that she's dead.
And they say in the later movies that she's dead. So we assume that he shot her. 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 So we assume that he Yes,
But-
and he says that I saw him shoot her right in front of me as well.
But
We
you
don't know.
never know. She could come back.
Dominic could be, telling half truths.
We don't know. So it's still up in the air because we didn't see it.
And even
But-
if we did see it,
right, it doesn't really matter. So you never really know.
but for right now, assume dead.
She's dead. And he's like, this is the worst thing ever.
Mhm.
So they're like, okay. He's like, whatever, I'll do this job, bitch.
Yeah.
So he goes and they do the EMP thing. But who's there? The family's there. They're
Family.
here to stop him.
Mhm.
And The Rock is like, listen, if it comes down to it, I'm going to put him down.
Mhm.
And you're like,
Letty's
wow,
like,
okay.
not if I have anything to say
Yeah,
about it.
she's like, you're going to have to get me too then.
yeah.
So anyway, they have this crazy action sequence where she hijacks the submarine.
Yeah, Tej needs to get in the sub to like do some stuff so that Ramsey can overtake it and stalemate her.
Right. They have a hacker war.
Yeah, they have hacker war. Ramsey v Cypher.
And it ends up that they can't get the nuke codes
Mm-hmm.
fast enough, so Cypher's like, let's just take the submarine.
Let's
Let's
just
get
go.
it out of the bay.
Yeah.
So they start driving it under all the ice, and
It's like
the
an art-
people
yeah.
driving on top of the ice is our family and all the people chasing them because it's like a base, military base.
Yeah.
They're chasing him, and they have this crazy fight sequence, car chase sequence on the ice with a bunch of missiles that are blowing up.
And Dominic Toretto at this point is with Tormund, and he's just chilling, and Tormund's got a sniper rifle, and he's
Yeah.
going to start killing everybody.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna snipe him.
Yeah,
and
but
he's supposed
Dominic's
to-
just like, he's waiting for a call. He's like, what's
he's
going
waiting.
on?
Yeah, he's waiting for what? For what?
What is he waiting for?
Two masked figures flying through the sky.
What?
They fly right onto Cypher's plane.
And they're two masks. They go, you have no idea who we are because we got masks on. So there's no way that you could tell who we are because there's nothing really defining about our presence here. I'm
Innit.
from London as well, but that's not important to who I am.
So
Innit.
it's
Bruv.
Owen and Deckard Shaw. How in the world
The Shaw Bros.
did they find the undetectable plane?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Dominic Toretto's necklace is also
A tracking
device. Beep, 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 beep. Epic. I actually really like this
Yeah.
next action sequence where they get his baby,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a scene where Jason Statham is like holding the baby and also killing like a bunch of people, but trying to
Yeah.
keep the baby from
Safe,
crying. So he
yeah.
makes him listen to like Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas music, and then he's like killing all these people, and he's like, "Are you okay?" Really, really nice little funny scene. Anyway, they get the baby, and then Dominic Toretto's like, "All right, it's Dominic Toretto time," and he beats Tormund, beats him real good.
And he's like, what are you doing? I'm looking you in the eye.
Yeah,
Gets him.
yeah, he gets him good. And then Dominic Toretto does some Dominic Toretto things, and they take down the submarine. Not before though, Cypher. This is hilarious to me. She's like, shoot the torpedoes. So they shoot a torpedo, and it like goes up through the ice, and it's like sliding on the
across
ice.
the top.
And The Rock is driving this like big thing, and he's like, Roman, take the wheel. And he's like, what? And he's like, and so he leans out of the car, and he grabs the torpedo with his hand, and he just throws it to the left, and it goes sliding into like one of the bad guys' cars and blows him up. It's just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And then eventually they end up crashing the whole submarine.
I would say it's probably by the sixth where it's just like forget about any kind of sense. Would it be the sixth movie?
Yeah, the runway, the infinite runway.
So the sixth movie is where logic goes out the window.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, another reason why 5 is so good. Because
Yeah.
it has some level of believability to it.
And then they're just like, cool, we did it, yay! And Dominic Toretto's back with the family.
And he explains, oh, I have a baby, and nobody asks where Elena is. He doesn't tell anybody that Elena's
Yeah,
dead.
right. That was an interesting thing. There's
Which
like,
is really... we assume he did it off screen, but...
yeah, he never really tells them that they're dead. And then
Yeah.
Jason Statham confronts Cypher in the plane, and Cypher's like, I'm the only one with a parachute.
Yep.
She opens up the door.
She just jumps
and
out.
She jumps out of the plane with a parachute.
Very
and she
easy.
flies away, whatever. And then they all have dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And they
He's
have
like,
their
look at my
normal dinner.
baby.
Yeah.
His name...
It's
It's
Brian.
Brian.
Aww.
Aw.
How nice and sweet is that?
That is very sweet.
And that's that. Fate of the Furious is over.
Yeah.
And then spin-off time.
Spin-off time.
2019.
We should get into, I guess. Well, you would have to tell me. I don't know if you've learned more since, but why is Hobbs and Shaw a thing?
So apparently, there's tension on the set between individuals.
Yeah, which isn't great for.
Apparently,
family.
I think now that I've gotten to the bottom of this, still don't know for sure, but I think it's Jason Statham and Vin Diesel don't like each other.
Really, it's those two. Okay.
Yeah. They don't like each other. Mm-hmm. So they're being babies about it, and they don't want to make movies together, I guess. So they're like, oh, okay. So they made this Hobbs and Shaw spinoff, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It forgoes the whole racing thing in general.
Yeah, it's just Hobbs and Shaw shenanigans. They team up.
Oh, we should also mention, in 8, there's also another character reveal. That's Helen Mirren.
Oh, right.
As Mama Shaw.
Right, yeah.
And she shows up, and she's like, oh, I'm just an old lady who loves pretty things, and I like going to the bank, and I like escaping from the prisons, and I like tea and crumpets. You know, I'm just an old bitch.
Yes. It's very good.
Yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Cut off your tallywhacker.
Directed by David Leitch. What's up? They Hobbs and Shaw, they get to work together, and they're like, have this crazy banter all the time. They're like,
Yeah.
I'm not working with this guy.
So let's do it. Do you want to be Hobbs and Shaw? Let's do like one of their insult things. Do you want to be Hobbs and Shaw?
I'll be Hobbs. You're better at Shaw than I am.
Okay.
I'm not working with this British tea drinking loser Muppet shit stain.
That would be wanker to you, you meathead motherfucker. Doesn't say that. But why don't you go rub some baby oil on yourself and make yourself happier?
Stuff like that,
Yeah.
but the whole movie.
I'm going to shove my foot so far up your ass that you'll be coughing up my toenails.
I don't think this is in Hobbs and Shaw. It's in one of the other ones, but he's like, I'm gonna punch you in the face so hard that you're gonna have to stick your toothbrush up your ass to brush your teeth.
yeah. So it's that kind of
That's funny.
back and forth.
But they're teaming up because there's this
Deadly
device, like
virus,
disease,
yeah.
virus that the bad people are gonna take out the world.
Um,
Idris Elba is gonna use to take out
And
the world.
Hobbs gets this by way of his old friend Locke.
Who is also
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah.
Yes. I think it's Locke. I think that's his name.
yeah.
So they're like old best friends, but they're not. Their relationship's a little confusing of what they
Yeah.
actually are, but Ryan Reynolds, he's just doing the funny Ryan Reynolds thing.
Right.
So if you like him, you'll like it.
So they team up, and he's like, okay, but Vanessa Kirby is like, I'm another Shaw.
I'm Girl Shaw, but not old Girl Shaw, young Girl Shaw.
Yeah.
And I love tarot cards. I bet, probably. That's never established, but
It's
seems
Shaw's
like the type.
sister. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So in the Fast and Furious, we have family, but in this Hobbs and Shaw spinoff, we have, family.
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 And she ends up, for whatever, I can't remember. She's in like a sticky situation. She ends up injecting herself with the virus.
I think that actually happens off screen, maybe.
No, she does it. Because
Oh,
I
she
remember
does?
she like sticks her hand with it. And
Okay.
she takes the virus. Because she's in like the MI6 or
The
whatever.
whole thing
and
is
her
they're
thing
like,
gets
oh, she went crazy
up.
and she killed her whole team.
Right, but
that's
that
like what
didn't-
they
it's
say.
not what happened.
Yeah, it's Idris Elba doing stuff.
Right.
But basically, Hobbs goes after her, and Shaw kind of goes to her apartment. So they have like a dual action scene where Hobbs is fighting Lady Shaw, and he's like, it's kind of funny because he's obviously this big, huge man, so he's kind of just like manhandling her, but she's like doing tricky things to get out of it and stuff.
Yeah.
But basically, at the end of it, he's like, oh, you learn a lot about a person when you fight him, and you weren't fighting to kill me, you were fighting to run away. And she's like, oh, I'll kill you anyway, I hate you.
Yeah.
And so that's when Shaw comes in, and he's like, oh, get away from my sister, you big, stupid idiot, And then she's like, I'm getting out of here because I am the virus. And she shows her 3 marks in her hands.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, my gosh. And then Idris Elba and the team crash through the window.
OMG.
They were like, we're taking her, and we need her alive because if she dies, the virus is gone. So, and it's something about the virus that it takes so much time to like gestate, and then it'll like spread or something. So they're on a strict time limit to
Right.
get it out of her. And so they go to this doctor guy from Atomic Blonde, and they're basically like, what do we do? It's like, oh, really, we should kill her and then burn her until every atom is ash. And they're like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not going to be an option. So then their only other option is to, like, go find a machine that'll, like, extract it. But Idris Elba and the director, Etienne, whatever, is, like, the business or something.
Yeah.
That has it, and they need to be there. It's like, okay, how do we do that? Basically, they're pulling off, like, heists that, like, the Shaws had when they were kids. They're like, oh, yeah, let's do the Mick Jagger. And they'll break into the place. She'll get captured. She'll get the extractor. Then they'll break in and save her, and it'll all be good. And, I mean, it doesn't really go to plan.
Yeah, they get captured.
Yeah.
And they get zappy chaired by Idris Elba. And they're sitting there, and they're like, yeah, I'm taking it like a man. I'm big and strong.
But the original directive from the Etienne director to Idris Elba's character, Black Superman, was try to flip them, convince them they'd be great assets, get them to work for us, don't kill them. Idris Elba's like, that's not going to happen, but he's like, I don't care, do it. So that kind of gives them an edge in this situation because Idris Elba can't kill him necessarily right now.
They end up breaking out, and the one doctor dude ends up flipping and like using a flamethrower and
kill
like
them all.
murdering a lot of people. And then a crazy action sequence happens where they steal the thingy and they're trying to run away, and everything's blowing up, and they're jumping into cars and they're flying off of things, and Idris Elba's on his crazy motorcycle.
And he's also like cybernetic, and he like basically literally has superpowers.
Yeah, he's Black Superman.
Yeah.
And they chase him, but he
and
gets
he's like,
away.
I've never heard of Superman. Do you mean the great British baking show man? Do you mean the Union Jackman?
Anyway, they get away, and they're like, well, the one dude that could use the device is dead now.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? And then Hobbs is like, there's only one guy I know that could do something like this. I'm going home. OMG, we're going to Samoa, where The Rock's family is. They go there, and they're all like, cool, and he gets punched in the face by his brother. He's like, fuck you.
Yeah, basically.
Why would you do this to our family?
How dare you? You're like a weirdo man. You hate
How could you do this?
Samoa.
And then his mom comes out and he's like, what are you doing?
I love my
son. We're family.
Family.
And then he's like, okay, we need you, brother, to figure this thing out because this girl is very important. We need to get this thing out of her. And there's bad guys that are going to come here and try to kill us, so we need to get the guns. Let's open up the gun safe. They open up the gun safe. Oh, my goodness.
No.
Where are the guns? It's all just, like, these really hacky, like, swords and makeshift
Maces
stuff.
and things, yeah.
And he's like, Mom, where are the guns? She's like, I get rid of them. And so they're like, okay, we're going old school.
Yeah. So they have a showdown where they are able to deactivate all the bad guys' guns. Jason Statham puts them in a ring of fire with a car.
Yeah, this whole action sequence I really enjoyed.
It was like a big part of the trailers, I remember, was this action sequence.
It's really cool.
Specifically. And they just have a melee, a big old melee.
Yeah, inside a ring of fire.
Yeah.
It's really cool. They battle it down, and then they have a plan to, like, lure him to this, like, minefield that they built.
Oh, yeah.
And they're driving these cars, and Idris Elba's in a helicopter, and he's, like... he like hooks one of them, and so then they just keep on hooking up like their cars to each other to try to
like a human
keep
centipede
the
of
helicopter
cars
down. And there's like 5 cars flying and one car like on the ground driving the helicopter around, and the Rock is like standing there, and the chain is about to end for like the thing, and it flies off, and he catches it with his hand, and he's holding 5 cars and a helicopter with one hand.
Yeah.
And then he pulls them back and hooks them back around.
Yep.
It's incredible. Amazing
Fantastic.
stuff. And then they crash. And then him and Hobbs and Shaw have a epic battle against Idris Elba's character. I don't even know his name.
Yeah, his name was... I don't remember. But we double teamed him.
They fight him.
We attacked him from both sides. We penetrated his defenses, and together we did an Eiffel Tower on him. That's in France. I'm from London.
I remember though. I don't know why I always remember this. There's a cool part in this fight where it's from like Idris Elba's point of view, and he's like standing there. He's like, "Let's fight," and he's got all the cool like cybernetic powers. And it goes like slow mo, and it shows like what he sees, like in analyzing the situation.
Oh yeah.
And there's a part where The Rock is like winding up a punch, and it like
Shows
has
you
like
how much
amount of
force.
force, and the
like,
number just keeps on going up, and it's like thousands of pounds.
Yeah, it's like I think it ends up being like 2,800 pounds or something like that of force, like over a ton of force in a punch.
it's which I thought was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have a fight, and he beats them. They beat him, and then he gets his chip removed by the dude, and he's like, "You're no use to me anymore." And then he's like, "Hey, you guys, you want to be my pals?" And they're like, "No."
Oh.
And then they get the thing gets out of Vanessa Kirby, and they're like, "We did it."
Family.
Also, Kevin Hart's in this movie.
Kevin Hart shows up. He's an air marshal, and he wants to be part of the gang, but they don't let him.
Yeah, he's just there to be funny.
Yeah, he's like, Three's company. We've only got 2, enough room for 2 in this ride.
And also, The Rock and Vanessa Kirby kind of have some
pseudo romantic
some things
going
on here. They kiss one time.
Yeah.
But they're kind of like, maybe we shouldn't have done that. But who knows what the future could hold. I really hope that Vanessa Kirby comes into the Fast movies. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
I'm
do we have news on a Hobbs and Shaw 2?
I don't know, but they definitely set it up. So I'd be down for it.
Because we have the whole director who I was so confused because when I was watching it, I was like, that's Ryan Reynolds. Because it's his voice.
Yeah.
But it's a distorted, like, robot voice, you know? But it was obvious to me that it was Ryan Reynolds behind it because Ryan Reynolds just has a particular way of speaking.
Yeah.
And so there's an after credit scene where it's like Ryan Reynolds, like, killing a guy or whatever, and he's like, oh, there's a second virus. And I was like waiting for it to be the reveal that like he was the director all the time, but it wasn't. It was just, oh, he happened to voice it, but it wasn't him.
Yeah.
Thought it was very strange. Unless that was just the interview with the director was just a red herring and it still is him, but they're saving it for the sequel.
Could be.
You know.
You never know. Anyway, that was Hobbs and Shaw. And then just
the special features of Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, listen, if you have the Blu-ray of Hobbs and Shaw, you need to watch the special features. There's like 40 minutes of special features. And there's one where The Rock has this like chihuahua and he's just like taking it around the set of Hobbs and Shaw and they're just like doing shenanigans.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it's just kind of funny.
Anyway.
So you should watch that. Anyway, then literally just yesterday,
Yeah.
Fast 9 came out, directed by Justin Lin. He came back. He's going to bring the franchise back to its glory. Fast 9, we saw it in the movie theater.
2 days ago.
Right, we saw it on Thursday.
But it came out Friday.
Right, you know how it is.
You know how it works.
Premieres. And we saw it theater, bunch of people.
Yeah, pretty full.
It was the first time I've been in a movie theater with like a lot of people in 2 years.
Yeah, basically. I had the theater experience, like a real theater.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
And I liked the movie.
Okay, yeah. I mean, we decided we're gonna rate them at the end, so
we're
really
gonna rank
into
all the
there.
movies right after we talk about Fast 9.
At the end of the day, I did enjoy it overall, but the two big things for me is I'm not the hugest fan of John Cena as an actor.
Okay.
And this one does at one point get like too ridiculous. You know, maybe.
Nah, it could never, in my opinion.
I wish it was different. Okay, we'll get there, but I wish it was different characters in that situation.
Okay.
It would have been a lot better to me. I think it would have been funnier. Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, F9 starts off. We're in the past.
Fast Saga.
We're in the past. What are we seeing? There's some sort of stock car race going on.
Yeah. What?
OMG.
Oh, it's a Toretto.
It's Jack Toretto.
It's Daddy.
Dom's dad. He's in a race. OMG. And if you paid attention to the series at all, you would realize that we're about to see Dominic Toretto's father die in his car accident. We're going to see how that happens.
Finally.
It happened. He crashes. He blows up. It's bad. He's dead.
Like, he blows up and then flies like 40 feet forward in the air. Like, it's
rough. Very not good. And then there's a lot of flashbacks littered throughout the whole film, but I think we'll just kind of tackle it all here. We also learn about who Dominic Toretto beat up with the wrench to go to prison for a little bit.
It was the guy that
crashed him.
Yeah, it caused him to crash, which caused the explosion, sort of.
Right. So he beats him within an inch of his life. He goes to prison, and then he finds out that it was actually Dom's brother that did like this thing to his car to make it like misfire or something. So he did it so that he would blow up. So he was like, OMG, my brother killed my dad. So he goes to one of the races and his brother's there and he's like, I want to race you. But if I win, then you have to leave. You keep driving.
Yeah.
And he wins. So he leaves and he keeps driving. But then you find out later in the movie again that he didn't try to kill dad. He did it because his dad
asked him to do it
because
he had to throw the
race. Obviously, the plan was not for him to explode and die. But they just needed his car to like stop working.
It's actually, I think it's a decent moment in the film where he's like, and I promised Dad I'd never tell you the truth, that he asked me to do it, you know, or whatever. And of course, technically, there's no reason for him to believe him, but I believe him because the flashbacks say that it's true, so it has to be true. But yeah, because even Dominic had doubts because he like overheard his dad talking on the phone about like throwing the race and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's the most tense moment is when John Cena finally breaks that promise, and it's like, yeah, Dad told me to. It was his fault that he died, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the end of there are no more flashbacks. He leaves, and then he leaves. He's gone.
During the present, we have the squad. They're chilling. They get a message, or well, actually, Dom and Letty are on their little wherever they live with their farm, having a good time. Whatever.
They're totally out of the game. They're like isolationist, basically.
People start rolling up. They're like, OMG, we need to get the guns. And
Brian, hide in
the thing.
Cellar.
And who is it? Oh, it's just Tej and Roman and Me Sunday.
Me Sunday. They're family.
The family's here. OMG. Well, why would the family be here if they didn't have something important?
And Tej is like, we got this encoded message from Mr. Nobody, and he only sent it to
like,
us.
OMG, we're crashing.
We've got dangerous cargo.
Do this thingy, and they're like, OMG. So like, okay, look, we need to help this, and he's like, no.
Yeah, he's like, we're out of it.
And they're like,
Letty's like, don't you miss it? Don't you miss the life? He's like, Brian got to move on and whatever. He's like, well, maybe we're not Brian and Mia. You know, that's not us.
So he at first is gonna stay, but then at the final moment he makes the decision to go on because Letty's going.
Yeah, and they don't explain it, but you just assume that Brian was left at the farm alone.
Right. Well, they do say later that they sent him with
40 minutes later. They do say
he's with Brian and Mia.
Yeah. Well, just with Brian.
Right, because Mia ends up coming. But that's Anyway,
40 minutes later.
That's later in the movie.
Yeah. So they go to this Montetigua or something
right,
like that.
Right, because they're going to the plane crash site to recover the device that they need to get or whatever, and maybe find Mr. Nobody. They get there, they don't find him. They get the device.
Ramsey breaks open, finds it.
They get it. Okay, cool. OMG, they're getting shot at.
Attacked by the military.
The military people are there. OMG, we need to get across the border. So the cool little race chase scene happens. A lot of the cool explosions and stuff going on. Justin Lin just once again showing how he just knows how to stage a cool race action sequence.
You got Letty on like a motorcycle, and she's kind of leading the pack.
Doing cool things. Anyway, turns out John Cena's there too. Dom's brother. He's got an alternate agenda. Yeah. He steals the thingy from him, and is like, OMG.
And he drives off a cliff.
And the giant plane swoops down and picks him up in the air.
Magnets.
Really crazy. And then everyone gets across the bridge, which fell down, except for Dom and Letty. They're in the car, and they're like, OMG, what do we do? And Dom's like, I'm just going to drive off the cliff. And Letty's like, we can't do that.
He's like, well, watch me.
And he's like, listen. So he drives, and he hits it at like the perfect angle so that the rope of the bridge hooks into the tire, and then it swings them down and around, and they crash onto the
land. And all the military just assume they died.
Yeah. And they're like, okay. And then Letty's like, well, that was new.
Yeah. And then they regroup, and they're like, okay, what's up?
And then there's this funny moment where Roman is like, listen, guys, we've gone on all these crazy missions, and we don't even get a scratch on us.
Yeah.
And Tej is like, oh, yeah, you know what? You're right.
We're probably invincible.
He's like,
or you're a dumbass.
Yeah, and they all just like laugh at him or whatever, and he's whatever.
It's like, you'll see.
Yeah, it was a funny little moment because
Yeah.
that is exactly what happens.
Right.
And then it turns out Cypher has been like captured
Captured, yeah.
by the John Cena and crew.
Mm.
And
It's like a weird dictator's rich, spoiled son who's running this like operation thing.
yeah, to get the thing so that they can hack all the computers in the world,
Yes.
so that they can like control anybody that they want.
Everything, yeah.
So then they're like, Cypher,
Project
we need you
Ares.
to hack into this thing, and she's like, okay. She hacks into the thing, and they're like, okay, we found out where the other piece is, because the thing is in 2 pieces, and they need the key. We'll find out what the key is later.
There's another great scene. I don't think it's happening right now, but I'll just bring it up now, between Cypher and the rich son, where he's like, oh, it's because like the tides are kind of turning, so he's like, oh, get all my men and show them out there, throw in like everybody you got. I want the whole empire against him, even Han Solo and Chewbacca if you can find him. So it's like a weird Star Wars reference. Then Cypher's like, oh, Chewbacca, huh? And he's like, yeah, I'm like a master Jedi. I'm like, or no, he's like, I'm like Han Solo. And like, she's like, no, you're more like Yoda. He's like, oh, well, Yoda's like a powerful master. I'm cool with that. She's like, no, Yoda's a puppet with someone's hand up his ass.
Yeah, that was
and
good.
I was like, because I thought the Star Wars things were stupid. I was like, why are they doing this weird reference? But then Cypher's like, he was a puppet. And I was like, ooh, Cypher.
Yeah, Cypher
got
getting
it.
it. But yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so obviously the family tries to interfere with them getting the second piece.
Yeah.
So they have this action sequence where John Cena's on the world's longest zip line. And he's just zip lining through like the whole city of London
Yeah.
for like a long time.
Very long time.
While they're all chasing him or whatever. And then they find out that they have this like magnet device in this car to like shut off cameras and stuff, whatever.
Yeah, it's magnetic interference that just like interferes with
super
electronics.
strong magnets.
Yeah,
though.
like breaking
really
like
strong.
Breaking Bad times like 10.
Yeah. And then Ramsey ends up having to drive the car, but she's never drove before.
Which I don't know is true. Thinking back at the movies, she definitely took the wheel of somebody for some time, but I don't know if she actually ever drove. She probably didn't, but
Yeah. She's like, I never drove before.
probably my favorite sequence in the film. No, definitely my favorite sequences of the film is the Ramsey driving the big huge truck
Yeah, it's really cool.
and tailing the guy in the like Jaguar or whatever.
And they chase him around, and then they have this cool moment where they're driving on opposite sides of the building, and they turn up the magnets to maximum power, and it pulls the car through the building, and the camera like follows the car through the building, and it crashes through.
And you can
into
see
them.
behind the
It's really
scenes how
cool.
they did it. It was like on a rail, and they actually like threw it through the building.
Yeah, it's really cool. They do a lot of really cool practical stunts in Fast and Furious. That's why I like it a lot. Anyway, and so they're like, cool, we did it, but we didn't do it.
No.
Because John Cena always has a plan.
So they put him in a hole, and they're like, you just chill out for a while. And then Tej is like, everybody look at this.
It's Han!
It's Han! What? Guys, the emotional roller coaster I had over a week of having Han, losing Han, then getting Han back. I have a question. Was this known?
Yeah, it's in the trailer. That's why I told you to not watch the trailer.
Okay, phew, because I was in the theater, and they revealed Han, and I was like, ugh! And then I realized nobody was doing anything.
Because everybody knew.
And I was like,
Dude, if they didn't show that in the trailer, everyone would have been like, whoa!
right, exactly. But I was kind of freaking out because I hadn't seen the trailer, so I was like, why is nobody
Yeah,
reacting?
that's why. Because it
Yeah.
wasn't. That's why I specifically told you to not watch it, because I knew you
Good.
would like that.
Good. Right, because I guess everybody else. Okay, yeah.
Right. And then Mia comes back too, because she's like, OMG, my other brother is part of this, so I need
Yeah,
to
it's
be
my
part
brother
of this.
too.
It's my brother.
So yeah, Brian's taking care of the kids. He's cool with it.
And then they kind of show how they found Han.
Mm-hmm.
He was like in Tokyo or whatever, and it's like Mia and Letty, and they're in Tokyo, and they're like, OMG, look, Mexico.
Yeah, Mexican flag in this apartment. Let's enter
Boom.
it.
And then this girl is like protects him from all these guys that are trying to kill him, and then they
Yeah,
Han
young Asian
snipes a bunch
girl.
of dudes,
Mm-hmm.
and then turns out that the girl was
The daughter
The
of the people who
daughter.
invented the Ares project.
and the daughter is like the key.
The key to activate it is her DNA, which she shares with her parents, obviously.
Right. So they need her. So Han is like protecting her.
Mm-hmm.
We also find out how Han survives his crash.
Sort of.
It turns out that it was all just a setup
By Mr.
by
Nobody.
Mr. Nobody.
To kill him and have him work under the radar.
Right. And it's yeah, I mean, that's a good workaround, I guess.
Sure.
So, yeah. So he's alive now, and he's back, and he's like, I'm back, boys.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh my gosh, Han, this is so great.
And he's got a haircut. He's got short hair.
He's got a cool little haircut going on now. And they're like, okay, let's do it. And then all the dudes show up, and they're like, we're going to get John Cena back.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, dang it.
So they got him all at gunpoint, and that's when that confrontation between John Cena and Vin Diesel happens. And he's like, Dad wanted me to do it, so shut up. I hate you.
Yeah, and then they leave, and they're like, okay, you can kill them all now. And then they turn on the magnets, and all the guns fly, and they have a crazy fight, and they try to run away. And then there's so many guys, and then Dom is like, listen, I'm going to stay behind, or whatever.
And Letty's like, no!
Yeah, and then he's like, no, and she's watching through the door, and Dom's fighting all these dudes, and he's totally destroying
Takes
everybody.
out, like, most of them.
And then he pulls down, like, the whole, like, thing that they're standing on, and they all go crashing into the water. And then Dom has a reflective moment on his life.
And he sees his son. His son's like, Daddy!
And then you're like, OMG, Dom's gonna die.
And then Letty dives into the water.
What?
And she drags him out, and he wakes up, and he's like, family.
He's like, family. And then they're like, OMG, wow, that was crazy. We really need to stop these guys.
What now?
Now, but listen, we have to stop them on the ground, and we have to stop the satellite too, because if it gets uploaded to the satellite, there's nothing we can do. So we have to take care of the satellite. How do we take care of the satellite? It's in space.
We go to space.
Duh.
That's
a funny moment because he's like, what are we going to do? Just like go to space? And Vin Diesel's like, that's exactly what we're going to do. So then.
But what? Okay, they get to space. So what? They need to like attach a rocket to a car. They need some sort of mechanical genius to pull this off.
Who other than Lucas
Well,
Black?
you thought I was gone, didn't you? You thought I was out of this series. Well, no, sirree. I became a mechanic, and I know all about rockets, boosters. I know about tires and rubber insulation. I do carpeting as well. Bar mitzvahs, if you have them.
And Twinkie's there.
But he don't go by that name.
He don't go by
anymore.
Twink anymore.
You ever went by that name?
Yeah, that was a little funny moment. And
so Lucas Black is 23 now.
and he looks like he's 57.
He literally looks so old. Like he looks older than Vin Diesel.
He looks unbelievably old.
He looks about as old as Mr. Nobody.
Yeah,
it's Kurt Russell. But no, he's like, oh no, I can do that. We can send you to space, no problem.
And so they build a giant rocket on the Toyota or Pontiac Fiero, and then they put it on top of a plane, they fly it up 50,000 feet, and then they launch them into space, and then it's up to Roman
all right, boys,
and Tej to take care of the thing.
Yeah.
And they get up there, and they can't take care of it.
Their magnets broke.
The magnets are
like,
broke.
what do we do?
So they're like, let's just crash through it. And he's like, but we could die. And he's like,
and we'll run out of fuel, too.
And he's like, well,
too bad.
Part of the job.
Yeah.
They do it, but they're okay, obviously.
Yes.
And then they get on the International Space Station.
Yeah, then as minions.
That's the space part.
Mm-hmm.
On the ground, there's a really awesome action sequence they have this big convoy.
And it's this huge truck that's like
humongous. And then they all have their cars, and each of their cars, they put magnets in each of them. So they use the magnets like on and off all the time.
Yeah, they've got like attract and repulse.
Yeah, to like throw people away or bring people towards them. It's really cool little action sequence.
Very neat idea.
And there's this crazy part where they just all like go next to him, and they all do like the pole thing, and it just pulls like 50 cars, and they're just crashing and everything. So they're trying to stop
But it doesn't slow them down.
Doesn't work. So they come up with a plan to like do some magnet tricks and make the truck flip.
So he's like, Letty, you need to get up next to me. And she's like, I can't get there. You know who can?
John Cena.
Yeah.
Because we didn't say it, but he kind of had a falling out with his bros.
Because Cypher and the dude teamed up against him, basically.
Yeah.
And started working against him. So Cypher's out now. She's working on the bad guy team.
Yeah. And then he shows up, and it's like, I can do it. And they flip the whole thing. Christopher Nolan, eat your heart out.
Exactly.
You thought it was cool when Christopher Nolan flipped the semi-truck?
Hardly.
They flipped 50 times the size of that.
Yeah.
It's really cool. They flip it and they're like, OMG, we need to get in. Dom's in it and he's like, OMG, what the freak, man. He jumps out and the plane is coming and Cypher's in the plane.
Yeah, Cypher's in the plane and she's like,
oh no.
basically she gets to a point where she's like, I can't believe you guys didn't kill Dom. Fine, I'll do it myself, is what she says.
Yeah.
Basically.
But
so she gets in the plane and she shoots missiles at it and he turns and it like kind of crashes and he jumps out of the flailing machine.
Yeah.
And Cypher's like, shit. And she crashes into it.
Oh my gosh, Cypher's dead! Ah! But it's okay, cut.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Cypher.
Your family disgusts me. Cypher, she was driving a drone. She was piloting a drone. Oh, Cypher's an ace pilot. She's been playing Ace Combat all her life. And she was like, this is just like the simulations, because it is one.
Yep. And then she walks away all angrily.
And that's it. She just walks away. She's like, fuck.
And they're like, yeah, we did it. Let's go have a family
Party,
meal, just like normal. At the end of almost all the movies, they have a meal, family meal. And they're there, and they have their kid there. And everybody's there, and they're like,
hey, wait, there's a chair that's empty.
And then Mia's like, oh, don't worry, he's on his way. And then you hear
the Reverend
Brian's import rolling up.
The blue one.
And you see it in his
into the
Nissan
driveway.
Skyline. It rolls up, vroom, 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 pulls up in the driveway. Movie ends. I thought that was a very nice little touch they added.
A nice ending.
Showing that Brian still very much a part of the family.
Of course.
And hey, that's it.
For now.
For now, until F10 and F11 and F12 and F13 and 14, 15, 16, and hopefully until 100.
Only 10 and 11. It's
hopefully
confirmed.
We get to...
Or at least it's confirmed Vin Diesel, but I'm pretty sure that they're like, yeah, that's it, 10, 11.
There's no way. They can't stop.
They might do Hobbs and Shaw, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
There better be Fast and Furious movies until I die.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
The point that we get to now, I don't know exactly how we... Do you want to talk about like any people in general you wanted to like shout out or like things for the future for the next two movies that you hope?
I want more space. I know there's a lot of people who aren't on board with the space. I feel like they barely dabbled the space.
I saw this thing on Twitter.
We need more.
And I forget who it was from, but it was some writer or something. But basically he did like a script, and I don't know if it was a joke script or what, but he showed a script to somebody where he was like, Dom and that bad guy are racing on the moon. Okay? And somehow the guy, is bad, and he blows up Dom's car on the moon. So Dom's in a spacesuit just on the moon. He's like, what do I do? I'm going to lose. It's all over. And he looks over, and he sees the original moon rover, and he's like, that's it. He gets in the rover, and he turns it on, and he wins the race with, like, the American flag in the back and, like, the original moon landing rover.
That would be amazing.
And that's when he wins the race. And he showed the guy, I think he showed it to him as a joke, and the guy was like, that could work. You know what? That's not bad.
That would actually be amazing.
But for context, I think this might have been, like, back when F6 came out or something.
Whoa.
So it was, like, before.
If that happened, I would cheer. That would be absolutely incredible.
It sounds pretty, for, like, how this movie went, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Wow. But see, listen, we need more space because here's the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
So you remember Ad Astra, right?
Yeah.
There's a really awesome scene in Ad Astra where they have like a Mad Max chase on the moon, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
That, but the whole movie.
Fast and Furious. Oh, the whole movie's on the moon.
That's the Fast and Furious on the moon.
Oh, okay.
Just like imagine that, but all the time, or maybe like half the time.
I was thinking that you'd have that movie, but it'd be like cataclysmic. What's happening? Like the bad guys like using the Large Hadron Collider to like smash atoms to like create a perfect world or something, and it causes a black hole. So it's the final confrontation is Dominic Toretto has to outrace the black hole. So the both start to stop. He has to outrace it. And he's like going like stretching out, but he's so fast in his car because he's like
he's the only thing that ever escaped the black hole.
He's driving like like a Pinto or something.
Okay.
Or like
he's driving the moon rover.
Just some jalopy. No, like a really broke down rusted car with like it has no engine in it.
Nos on the moon rover.
Anyway. But yeah, and so it's like a really shitty car, but he's like, it's not the car that matters, it's the driver. And he outruns the black hole. And he saves the world somehow.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think more space. They barely barely touched it in this one.
Yeah.
I think we need more.
It could happen. Would you want them to keep? What would you feel if they did like 100-year time jump and then they did it on the moon?
Well, no, because all the people would be dead.
No, but they're alive.
Ooh. There was like science that was invented that keeps them alive longer. I'd be down.
Okay.
That would be interesting. I also want
What if he's
Vanessa
like,
Kirby to be in the movies.
What if Vin Diesel, they like do experiments on him and they're like, Vin Diesel, you only age when you're behind the wheel of a car. He's like, what? You know? And so like what he wants to drive, but he knows that if he drives, he'll die. But like he can't help it because he just loves it so much.
Dang.
So like that's what he has to do. And when he's outrunning the black hole, he's aging and he's turning like 80, 90, 100 years old. He's like,
Because time is relative.
Exactly. And he outruns and he saves the world, but he dies of old age at the end.
We are actually making an incredible movie right now.
That's fantastic, guys.
Universal, call us up.
Justin Lin, take it. Take it from us.
Wow. Okay, that sounds really
That
good.
would have to be F11, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what I want.
Cool.
That's what I want.
The only thing I'm interested in is Cypher, because there's only 2 movies left or whatever. Is Cypher going to be in both of them?
I hope so.
It would make sense to me, I think, if she didn't want to do F10, if they just skipped her for F10, and then F11 she came back, and this was like the final confrontation.
Yeah.
But I also don't want her to die.
Yeah.
I want Cypher to win.
Maybe they'll turn her good, like half the people they do.
But see, the thing is, Shaw... Oh, we didn't talk about the after credit scene of F9.
Oh, humongous
Humongous
cliffhanger.
That's what Jason Statham says. Han comes in and it says, humongous. He goes, humongous what?
So after credit scene, Jason Statham,
Wanker.
Deckard Shaw is punching a punching bag. Turns out there's
It's a
a
guy
person
inside
inside
of
the
it.
punching bag.
Yeah.
Anyway, knock at the door.
Who is
He's
it?
like, OMG, let's go answer the door. He opens the door. It's Han. Cut to
Cut to
black.
black.
That's it. Whoa.
That's big.
That's huge.
Han and Shaw movie
I don't
title?
know. That would be interesting.
I don't know. But yeah, it would make sense to me if Cypher skipped for 10 and 11 she comes back and they turn her good. And I was saying that Shaw never killed anybody, so like it's okay him being a good guy like 100%. There's no reason why he can't be a good guy because he didn't kill Han. But Cypher definitely killed Elena.
Well,
We don't know. It could be
99%.
It could be Adriana from the Sopranos situation.
Sure.
Oh, right, you still haven't watched, so you don't know that. But yes, it's 99% sure that Elena's still dead.
Okay. Interesting. All right, you want to rank?
I guess we're ranking.
Let's rank all 10 movies.
Can we do worst first? Can we do best and worst first?
best? Well, I think everyone knows what number 1 is.
The best is 5.
Number 1 is Fast 5, Always and Forever.
It's just
Are we making a collective list or each our own?
I think we'll be able to come to terms with each other. I
Okay,
believe.
interesting.
Maybe.
Least favorite. This is my hot take.
Okay.
I think this will cause ripples in the community. My least favorite Fast and Furious movie is Fast and Furious, the 4th one.
I do not think that's ripples at all. I think most people don't like the 4th one.
No, it's not true.
Okay, well, I don't like the 4th one either, so I agree with that completely.
With the worst one?
Yeah, 4. I hate it. It's awful.
Well, it's not awful.
I know, but no, it's not. It's my least favorite one by far.
Oh wow, I'm surprised. Okay, I'm glad you agree with me on
Yeah.
that one. Okay, so then we'll go to number 9. F8, Fate, probably Fate of the Furious.
No.
Hobbs
I
and
can't-
Shaw.
Oh, Hobbs and Shaw, we're doing that too in the ranking. Then yeah, maybe Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and
there.
Shaw at number 9.
Number 9.
Okay, number 8.
You want to put Fate at number 8?
It's got to be Fate. The other ones are too good.
See, I would put 6 at.
Ooh,
number 8.
That's interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't think about number 6. I could roll with that. Fast and Furious 6 and the number 8 spot.
Okay, there we
but
go.
it's Fast and Furious 6 is good.
Well, they're all good.
Right.
That's what we're working off of.
Right.
Right. Some are just better than the others.
Okay, and then we'll put F8 for 7.
Well, here's
How
the
big are
thing.
you on F8 here? Because I can't.
I would go. If I'll just tell you, I would go 9 then 8.
Okay, interesting. I can let that slide because I'll fight hard for something else later.
Okay, then I'll have to concede.
So we'll do F9 and number 7
Okay,
spot and
and
F8 and number 6. Even though I like 9 more than I like 8. But anyway.
That's strange to me. I had a lot of pacing issues with 9 and stuff like that. I care.
Pacing issues.
Well, no, I just thought like I guess it was the very first sequence in the forest area even though it was really nice, just like story wise, I wasn't just gelling with too much.
That's fine.
So like the first, act, I was like,
Yeah. So we'll do 9, 7, and then number 8, Fate of the Furious,
6.
number 6.
And it has more Charlize Theron. So what are you saying?
Right. Number 5. Probably go. Too Fast. Too Fast, Too Furious.
Number 5, Too Fast, Too Furious. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Probably Too Fast.
Yeah. Too Fast, Too Furious. What?
I'm too fast for y'all. Okay, so now we have 4, 3, and 2 because we already have number 1, Fast 5.
Yes.
So we have the original, Tokyo Drift, and Furious 7. Now, I'm assuming that you think Tokyo Drift is the second best movie.
Yes.
I knew I was correct. I am going to argue with you to let us put Tokyo Drift. You know what? I was going to say number 4.
Okay.
But because F9 and F8 are only 1 apart, I'll let it be number 3. But it cannot be number 2.
Sure. Fine.
So Tokyo Drift is number 3.
With 7 being...
That puts the Fast and the Furious and Furious 7 in it interesting because I very much enjoy both of those.
I mean, I do too. 7 is... Yeah.
So... Let's think about
Me
this one.
personally...
I'm thinking... I don't know. No, you go. You go.
Just because the heart of the franchise and the start of the franchise was at street racing, and in 7 that's not an object, and in the first one that is the whole movie, that would make it me put it in the number 2 spot.
Number 2? The original Fast and Furious.
Yeah, but if you're not happy with that, I'll switch Tokyo Drift in 7 because I also really, really enjoy 7 as well.
So you would let Tokyo Drift be number 4?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, well then we're definitely doing that.
Okay.
Tokyo Drift 4, Furious 7 3, The Fast and the Furious number 2, and then number 1, Fast 5, obviously.
Fast 5, obviously.
Great, fantastic movie. There it is. That's the official power rankings. I know that Shea Serrano will be very mad at me because his favorite is Furious 7, and he will die on that hill.
Okay.
And listen, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. But Fast 5 is so good.
I mean, Furious 7 is cheating.
Is it?
It is.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not cheating, but it's like this is real life melting into the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even though it's really tasteful and it's really effective at what it's doing, it's kind of like cheating.
That's true.
But it's still a great movie on its own, even without that last part. It's fantastic.
Right. Yeah, there's the official list right there.
There you have it. It's that simple. And that's not opinion. That is fact.
That is fact. Fast 5, The Fast and the Furious, Furious 7, Fast
Tokyo
and Furious
Drift.
Tokyo Drift, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fate of the Furious, Fast 9,
Fast 6?
Fast 6, Hobbs and Shaw, and then Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it
The
is.
official list, everybody.
That's simple.
That's all there is to it.
And all that's to our show now is the
Family.
reviews of the week / families of the week. Families
Let's
of the
do
week.
it.
Brangelina?
Let's freaking do it.
Let's do it. What do you got? What do you got?
Okay, so I thought I'd do something kind of fun.
I'm here for it.
We play a little game.
Okay.
I have 10 very short reviews.
Okay, I have a few short reviews.
And we're going to do like a speed round where you have to guess.
Oh.
I'll just say these are all Fast and Furious movies.
Okay.
You just have to guess which one the review's for.
This is going to be rough.
Here we go. The 10th Fast and Furious film should be called Fast 10 Your Seatbelts. Which is amazing, by the way.
How is that? How am I supposed to guess? That F9?
Nope, wrong.
What?
It was Fast 5.
Okay.
Anyway,
I don't like this game if that's going to be the hints that I get. Nothing.
I'm just reading the review.
Okay.
The Vin and the Family. Two Vin, two Family. The Vin and the Family, Tokyo Drift. Vin and Family. Vin 5. Vin and Family 6. Family 7. The Fate of the Family.
Family 9?
It's Fast 5 again. Oh, what? You got bamboozled. Okay.
Are these reviews written when the movies came out, or are they written like 2021?
Okay, I'll read the date they were written.
Okay, thank you.
This one. May 16th, 2021.
Okay.
Remember when the coolest stunt in this franchise was little car go under big truck?
Fast 5.
The first one, the Fast and the Furious.
Right, because they were just writing the review for the first one. I was kind of thinking they were watching an extreme movie and just reminiscing, but okay. I did remember that happened in the first movie, though, for the record.
This one was in 2019.
Okay.
Speed Racer, but gay.
Fast 7?
This is Too Fast, Too Furious.
Damn, okay.
Okay. This one was in 2017. The gayest film of all time. You have to get this one.
How am I supposed to get that one?
There's connections.
Tokyo Drift.
No, it's Too Fast, Too Furious again.
His name is Twink. Partner.
Okay. 3 more.
Okay, I think I'm 0 for...
You've gotten 0 of them.
Okay.
2021. Bout. Okay, this one gives it away.
Tokyo 30, Tokyo Drift.
Bow Wow. Bow Wow plays a character named Twinkie, and everyone calls him Twink. Movie awesome.
Yes, okay. I got 1.
Okay, here we go. 2021 again.
Okay.
Superman is cool, but does he have car accident recreation vision? No, he does not. Advantage, Dominic Toretto.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Car accident recreation vision.
Was that...
Come on, you can get this one.
Oh, no. For some reason...
Think about it. When does he recreate the car accident in his head?
I thought that was like... Is that... It's gotta be 6. What?
You missed again. It's Fast and Furious, the 4th one. Because he's recreating his, when Letty dies.
But he recreates it wrong. I forget. I was trying to think when did they get the story straight, but I forgot that he does it wrong.
Yeah. All right. Very last one here.
That was my second guess, but I was on the right track.
There's no way you get this one. This was on March 17th, 2020. Better than Citizen Kane.
Too Fast, Too Furious.
This is a review for Fast and Furious 10, which is yet to come out.
Well, okay.
But this guy's confident it's better than Citizen Kane.
Sure.
Speeding chimps.
I agree with him. Okay, well then you can guess mine too. All right. This was March 31st, 2020.
Okay.
Easily the best Fast and the Furious. I like the bit with the cars.
Fast 5.
It's Tokyo Drift.
Damn it.
Okay.
I thought that one was going to be
How
straightforward.
about this one? I'm sorry, but Lucas Black is so ugly it made me angry to look at him.
Fast 9.
It was the third one.
Damn it. Damn
Tokyo
it.
Drift. Okay.
I thought that one was a
This one's from 24th of June 2021. I fucking hate fish.
Fate of the Furious.
That's Luca.
Oh, you cheated on me there.
I did.
Damn it.
They gave it a half a star, by the way.
Wow. He hates fish.
Yeah. There was another one that said, "Call me by your name ruined gay Italians for me." Half star.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Did you guys know that you can email us?
You can.
You can do that. You just gotta email, go to your Gmail or like whatever, and you could do the send, and you send it to.
You want to compose?
Yeah, compose message, and you click the send to. It's thestaglerpod@gmail.com.
That is thestaglerpod@gmail.com.
That's all it is. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, we have one that's kind of more like a comment here. It says, "Hey guys, I'm personally not a big fan of the F&F series,
You're a terrible person.
or at least the later installments.
Less terrible, but still terrible.
When it became more about choreographed action and less about the cars and racing, it kind of lost me. I feel like the first few installments have a charm that the newer ones gave up and replaced with over-the-top action.
They all have family, though.
Not that it isn't okay, not my cup of tea." Oh, okay, so he's British.
He's British.
However, the Fast and Furious game, the one where you have to outrace a rocket ship that is flying horizontally towards a city, the greatest game ever. Is that the new one, the Crossroads, that like just came out?
So here's the thing. I've never played any of the Fast and Furious games. I don't know if that's like the only one, the Crossroads, but I heard that Fast and Furious Crossroads only has like 2 hours of gameplay.
I also heard it was 2 good hours. I heard it was a good game as well. So I have no idea about that.
I don't know, but
What do you have to say to this Brit?
listen up here, you wanker.
Yeah, continue.
You don't like Fast and Furious? You fucking stupid, you cunt.
I like how our accents have gotten more and more accurate as the show goes on. It's like we're really chocolatey or accents, you know?
Yeah, it's not here.
In it, bruv.
You say you don't like the later installments. That's where the family.
Why don't we pop down to the pub and I'll give you a bit of a knuckle sandwich?
I'll show you the family.
I'll show you the family. I got thumb, index, the bird, the marriage finger, and the stink finger. And I make them into a knuckle sandwich and it goes into your mouth.
How about that, innit?
Bruv.
Bro.
We have another email.
Anyway, listen,
sorry.
You can like whatever you want, but Fast and Furious is great, and that's just fact. Anyway,
Okay.
that's all there is to it. Thank you for your email.
Yes. We have another one. Since you're talking about the Fast franchise, what is your
Yeah, we
favorite
are.
/ dream car, or just what is a type of car that you really like? Thanks.
So I have two answers to this.
Okay.
I have one. I do have a dream car that is totally unobtainable unless I like hit the lottery or something.
Sure.
It is a Aston Martin 177. It is like more than $1 million.
Oh.
So I obviously can't afford that.
What?
Very cool car.
No?
No.
You don't have that
I know.
lying around?
We're really popular on Twitch and YouTube.
You know, podcasting is a very, fortuitous gig.
Yep.
It's just-
Yep.
make a lot of money.
Maybe soon. Maybe by the end of the year.
Maybe by the end of the year, if we do more ads.
But my more obtainable dream car is just like Dominic Toretto would love. It's a Dodge Challenger. Which those aren't very expensive. I mean, they're expensive, but they're only probably like $40,000 or $50,000.
Okay. My favorite car that actually, I don't have like an Aston Martin type of thing, but like the car that I would want the most is a 1991 hatchback Honda Civic Si.
Yeah.
Yeah, in red, the original red. I think it's
Hatchback.
called Rio Red. I love the hatchback. Now, that's a car. I mean, that is just a beauty if you look. I mean, I have a picture of it if you want to see it.
Sure.
Just so you can see. It's that bad boy right there.
It's actually kind of sick though.
It is sick. Low-key sick. Guys, can you see this? Can you see this car? No. Because you're listening to audio. I love that car. I have a question. Car collecting obviously seems like maybe kind of an expensive hobby. I don't know.
Maybe.
But if you had cars, would you be the type of person who, if you had an old car like this, would you soup it up and put like the powerful engine in it and stuff? Or would you try to keep it as like original and...
Soup it up.
You would soup it up? See, I'm the opposite. I would want to keep it like exactly how it was in 1991.
Nah,
so
soup
it's
it
like
up.
top of the line for 1991, but it's like this is what it was. And I try to keep it as like a time capsule,
Interesting.
Maybe if there was some like stupid stuff or like unsafe stuff, I'd change it, But I'd want to try to stay pretty loyal.
That reminds me. I saw this TikTok
Okay.
where these dudes were at like this drag racing thing, and there was like this really cool car in the one lane, and these dudes literally had like a real drag race. They rolled up in like this Chrysler minivan,
Okay.
and everyone was like, "What is happening?
Yeah.
Like, what is this?" But this thing was insane.
They just had-
and they whooped ass. This thing was like, and
That's
it
funny.
just destroyed this other car. It was really funny.
Wow, that's really
so
cool.
that's why I would soup it up, because you can make anything
That's
really
true.
awesome. You just got to put the right driver in there.
Yeah, they just had Vin Sorrento driving the car.
Yep.
It's that simple.
See?
Guys, if you have no idea who I'm talking about when I say Vin Sorrento, just watch our last episode.
Yeah.
Into the Freezerverse or whatever.
Yep.
So, yeah, that
All right, cool. Thank you for your emails.
thanks for the emails. I had a good time. That was a good show.
That was very fun.
It was a long time coming, for sure, for me at least.
Yeah.
You've been trying to get me to watch him for the longest time, and I'm glad I never did, because then this wouldn't have happened.
This was a special
This
moment.
was a special moment here. Next time, you came up with it. Why don't you take it away?
Next episode, it'll be right after the wonderful July 4th Independence Day. So we're going to be talking about some of the great American propaganda films.
Yeah, we are definitely Team Sean. Shaw, get out of here, Sean. That's what I like. So we'll probably continue with the Southern accent next time.
I reckon.
I reckon we'll continue with the Southern accent, and you guys can come on in. It'll be a hoedown.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a good
You hear?
old-fashioned hoedown, you hear? and you can come back round, and we'll do a square dance. We'll do a dodecahedral dance if we got the time for it. I'll
Yeah.
invite Marilyn.
She'll be there.
I mean, look at her.
She is just a
Oh
beauty.
my, she is just the finest
Woo-wee.
Southern belle I ever did see, girl.
Gosh darn.
Oh boy, I need to go take a cold shower because my dick is hard. So I gotta go do that. Have a good time. We'll be talking about American propaganda films because 4th of July.
Yeah, buddy.
That's how we'll do it. Until then, everybody.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
I reckon.